Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm not important, just a question asker out of Atlanta, Raheen Ajame, but this is my sister from another mother, but we got the same father. Very important. This is Amari. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good. I almost didn't get out of bed.
Uh-oh. That would
I
not be good. That would not be good. Where you doing the show from? I'm laying in the bed. No, no,
almost thought about just calling.
Lord
I
Jesus.
was like,
See?
no, because I know it seems like anyway that you've really enjoyed having me on here first
Yes.
thing.
Hmm.
And so I'm like,
Exactly.
because so now I feel kind of like beholden to that. So
See, we kick it off. We kick it off every morning. We kick it off.
we
That's what we do.
do.
We
We
kick it off.
do.
Let me see. I wanna not everybody can embrace this, but I want to ask you this question. How do you get somebody to know, recognize, and realize that they belong in the room?
That they belong where?
In the room. And when I say belong in the room, I mean, like, a lot of people, they have greatness inside of themselves, but they don't recognize or realize it. And somebody have to really come to them and tell them, look, no, 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 you belong in this room. You belong with, because sometimes they look at other people around and they say, well, they this person is great. This person is great. Well, hold on. You belong in the room as well. Don't put yourself down because of who you're in the company of. You belong in the room as well. How do you get a person to understand, recognize, and realize that they belong? You smiling, I don't know where you're about to go, but how do you get somebody to recognize that they belong in the room?
Sweetheart, you are talking to somebody who has felt that over
Wow.
and over and over again. Like, I didn't belong. I didn't
Wow.
fit. I wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm,
And man, I look, I'll tell you what, when I hate these stories. This is almost like that those band camp stories. One time in band camp, but really
uh,
it's when I was in church and
mhm.
I started becoming or attempting to become a part of, like the women's small groups and
Yes.
different things like that. I felt that like what am I doing here?
Mhm, mhm.
I don't fit. I'm a
Yes.
little different, like and it makes you feel very uncomfortable, right? And God actually had to deal with me on that.
Mm,
He dealt with me and he said, because I thought they were the problem, right?
uh-huh.
And I walked away from one of those meets one time and he said, no, he says, it's you.
Mm,
You're the problem. Okay, well, what do
mm.
you mean I'm the problem?
Yes, yes.
How am I
Mhm,
the problem? I'm the most open book in this room, right?
mhm.
And
Yes.
he says, and he just told me, he's like, well, you're closed off. You're
Mhm.
this, you're that. Like, how he does. He always points out like everything, right? And I'm like,
Yes, yes.
oh
Were you distancing
crap.
It's like you were distancing yourself from everybody, or
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just because I always felt like um people had secrets
Mhm.
and they were always just kind of putting their best foot forward and that smile and just kind of covering up and hiding. And then he was like, no, no, it's you. It's
Wow.
you. Not that I was covering up and hiding, but that I was already judging them before getting to know them.
Yes, yes.
And so after he dropped that truth bomb on me, I was like, okay, all
Mhm.
right, so we're going to go home and reassess this. And then the next meeting that I went to, it was really scary and really hard to kind of let my guard down
Yes.
and do that. But then when I did it, it's like I flowered and I opened
Mm,
up in this whole other way and I
yes,
saw things from this whole other perspective. And I was like, oh, this is actually so nice. I
yes,
love
yes,
this feeling. Like it really was me. I really was the problem.
yes. Mm,
So, but that's like on that one of those coming to Jesus moments, right? Like God
yes,
deals with you.
absolutely.
But when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't maybe have that, How do you make them feel like they belong in the room? That's a self issue. I mean, because you can sit there and tell the most beautiful woman in the world that they're beautiful, or the most attractive man in the world that they're attractive, but unless they truly believe it and feel it themselves, they're never going to feel like they are. So I don't really know how you get them to fit in like that. They have to have that faith in themselves first.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. Do I'm trying to be careful. Do we
You don't have to be
sometimes
careful with me.
no. I just no. It's not that it's with you, but I want to be careful with how I put the question out there
Mm.
because so many people are listening, and I don't want to offend anyone. Um, do we people as a whole do we think that we're insufficient, not pretty enough, or do you think that may be a part of it?
Not pretty enough, not skilled enough.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay. I think maybe. I mean, because sometimes I really cannot wait for you guys to meet my husband. My husband actually just asked me, he's like, when does the show start? So
Yeah.
I think he's, if he's got the time, I think he will pop in at some point. I'm not sure, maybe not today, but,
Mhm.
when I hear him talk
But
sometimes,
you make sure you tell him whenever he wants to do, he's more than welcome. Tell him he's
yeah, I
absolutely
will.
more than welcome. Okay, okay.
I will. And I
Mhm,
appreciate that. But, when I hear him speaking, because the way that he speaks and the way that he's able to explain things, or just
mhm.
just the way that he is, right? And I sit back and I'm like, God, I sound like a complete moron next to him. Like that's how I
Wow,
feel. And then
wow, yeah.
he gets in a room full of people who have that same level of intelligence in my mind,
Mhm,
and they're
mhm.
having these beautiful, intelligent conversations. I'm like, I wish I could speak like that, you
You know,
know?
and see, even with that, we got a Tucson on the line. We're gonna go to him as well. But even with that, I know the way you talk about your husband and the way you love your husband. I know the way that he loved you. He picked you for a certain reason because of the fact that you make him better.
I
You
try. I hope so.
well, y'all do it for each other. Y'all actually do it for each other. But if you were a dummy or something like that, or if you did not measure up, I don't think y'all will be together. And so I think you definitely belong in the room. And he's so proud to take you in the room, any room that he go in with you.
And he
Come on.
absolutely is, because
Yes.
anytime we go anywhere and he's introducing me, they're like, "Oh, he talks about you all the time. It's so very nice to meet you," and I'm just like, and honestly, for me, that makes me feel a little uncomfortable. I'm always like,
Yeah.
"What
Yeah.
did you say about me?" Like, but I
Do
know
I need
it's
to walk
always
on
good
do I need to
things.
walk on eggshells around here because you built this picture? I don't want to mess up the picture. But no,
Right.
but just be you. Because
Yes.
everything that he described is who you are. And so
Mhm.
if you go in and try to change anything about who you are, you're changing the picture that he's drawn.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, and who you see on here, this is me all the time. This is my most authentic stuff. Even the mama bear when I'm sitting there telling
Yeah.
my kid to get out the door, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we love and respect. And so don't change. Do not
Thank
change.
you.
Now let me go to one of your favorite people, Mr. Big Head. Uh, Tucson. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning? see,
Okay.
look,
Lord have
look.
mercy.
He can't even see. He couldn't see that. He didn't know how to follow that one up because he's
He's
just like,
blushing, I think.
yeah,
You know what? Yeah, you when you uppercut, you got to come back to your. When you get your senses knocked out of you,
yeah.
you got to
Gotta regain.
clear
Yeah,
the names.
gotta regain yourself. Exactly. Gotta regain yourself. I got you. Tucson, how do you get a person to recognize, realize, and understand that they belong in the room? You belong here. You're just as good as everybody in this room. You're in this room because you were invited in the room. You were invited in the room because you are at that level. You are at that level. How do you get a person to understand, recognize, and realize that they belong in the room? You belong in the room. How do you get them to do that?
I bring them in the room. I bring because when a person, and that sometimes we have a tendency to talk over people
Mm-hmm.
rather than talk to them,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm learning more to bring everybody in the room, eye to eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the room, I promise you, if I can reach eye to eye contact with you, I'm going to try it
Mm-hmm.
at all costs because
Yeah.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Here's what because at some point, as a little boy coming up, or even as a teenager, and maybe beyond, I realized that nobody could hear me
Mm.
because I wasn't talking. I wasn't talking loud enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was out of the room, in the room.
Wow.
You hear what I'm saying?
So you were placing yourself in that
And
situation.
yeah.
Mm.
So can you imagine, like what Dia said? You don't see me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not making your presence known.
Yeah.
And some people have I don't know if you can't even say it's an insecurity, but it's like nobody sees me, nobody
Yeah.
hears me. Um, I'm not. Uh, I have no business. I don't have no business here, or I'm not at this level,
Mm-hmm.
or different scenarios. People, the mind and people have a tendency to be the new kid on the block,
Mm-hmm.
per se, as they enter a certain atmosphere. So when I'm talking to, if it's from 100 or 200 people, I'm talking to all of you.
Yeah.
You heard me, the Opelousas come out of me,
Yes, sir. I
all of
heard.
you.
I heard
You
that.
heard that?
Yes,
It
sir.
just spit out, boy. I tell you what, it came out quicker than I could hold it back in.
it sure came out. I'm talking to all of ya. Oh,
All of you.
whoa.
Yeah, but we got to help people because see, people are looking and searching for attention in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And while you have them, if you don't give it to them, you may not have that chance again.
Exactly. But Tucson, what do you do? What do you do when a person feels as though they're not good enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, if you will, or talented enough to be in the company that they're in? How do you get that? How do you shake them out of that falsehood and bring them back into the reality of, yes, you do belong here. Yes, you are. You're here because you deserve to be here. Because some people they just don't get it, Tucson, and they won't get it unless somebody take the time and explain it to them properly. Explain it to them.
When when I was per se on a job as a union steward, I'd represent anybody. I didn't even have to like them.
Yeah.
And there's some people I don't like. I don't care for you,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you know I don't care for you.
Yeah.
But as a union representative, I have to support you.
Yeah.
We have to be on the same team because now we're going before management, and you have a gripe or a grind against them. So regardless of who you are, guess what? They hired you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I go in the room to management and say, they talking about, well, he did, she did. I said, you hired him just like that.
Yeah.
So what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hire him, but
Mm-hmm.
you hired them with what you say they got.
Yep.
So they've been here evidently over 90 days. So they're an employee just like you.
Yeah.
Now who you work for?
Mm-hmm.
So there's an issue, even with them not knowing their job, you're the one that's supposed to train them.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives them a level of a feeling of being accepted. They say, well, doggone, I didn't know. Even in the church, you get some people, and especially then, because I don't like church people. You know what I said?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like them because they mean and nasty. They forget the man in the mirror because they got 2 scriptures under their belt. And everybody wrong but them.
Yeah, exactly.
So I when a person comes in the room, with love and kindness, I draw you.
Yeah.
So I give them the love that I want. That's what I do.
That's good. Toya, you want to take you back with us, sis? Toya had to step away for a second. She'll be back in a second or two. Zamar, you typed something in the box there. What's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
Which one?
Either one.
Both of them?
Actually, both. Yeah.
You want me to read it?
Just tell us what it is.
Okay. Well, it's basically the gist of it is, it's like I said, just when we first started, either you have that, you have to feel that first, that confidence within yourself. And either you have it or you don't when you're walking into the room. And sometimes you adjust and then you feel like you belong. You're like, okay, I can do this, whatever. And then other times, if you never adjust, if you never feel like you belong, then those are the ones that are always going to constantly be running away, and they'll put themselves in the corner and keep themselves separated. And then they're miserable because they don't understand. Oh, I don't understand why I don't belong. I don't understand why I don't fit in. But they're not giving themselves time ever to adjust. And I'm guilty of that. I know because I've done it, right? But it's because for me, and I don't know about for everybody else, but for me, it's like I said, like I was always so closed off and guarded and always thinking this or that about people or particular persons. And so, yeah, it's hard. And like I said, with my husband, when I listen to my husband speak, and he just has such an intelligent way of explaining things, and I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm just falling over my own words, tripping over my own words, and I'm just like, why can't I talk like that? And then it does kind of make you feel a certain sort of way. But now, I'm proud of him, and I'm like, okay, and I try to learn from him and glean that from him a little bit. But at the end of the day, I just have to be comfortable with who I am and how I speak, because we're 2 different people, and it's okay. He was raised a little bit better than me in that regard. He had his grandparents who are very well spoken. And so he has that. And his mother is a very smart woman too, and she can speak very well as well. I grew up as trailer trash as you could get, and nobody had a right way of speaking, using their words. So when you go from that to this over here, then you're just kind of like, I don't know what to do. So I have learned a little bit better, but I'm still messy like that when it comes to speaking. But I'm okay with it now, because what I've learned is people love it. How, regardless, just because I'm so unfiltered and I'm just me and I'm just out there. So it took me a long time to be comfortable with that. But I think that's where a lot of the issue is people just don't embrace their uniqueness and understand that they have something to offer to the room.
That individuality.
That individuality. Like whatever makes you. If someone is bringing you into the fold, clearly you belong there. There was something about you that they liked enough to bring you into that to begin with.
Exactly.
But we have to have that confidence in ourselves enough to know that we belong. And it's tricky sometimes.
Wow. Tucson, why do you think it is? Oh, we got Toya with a T on the phone line. Toya with a T. Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. We're talking about you belong in the room. How do you get someone to?
That's right.
How do you get someone to understand? She said, "That's right." How do you get someone to understand, recognize, and realize that if they don't have that confidence level, that they belong in the room. Because a lot of times people think they're not good enough, talented enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, or whatever, to be in that room. How do you get a person to understand and
That's
recognize that
right.
you belong in the room?
Yeah. Mhm. It's funny because I don't care what room it is. I'm gonna go in there because I said I'm going. That's what I said I'm gonna do. I don't give a hoot about fitting in. I know there's no place that I cannot and will not go, whether they think I fit in or not. However, some people are so mentally, um, I want to say mentally constipated that they can't move
Yeah.
because
Wow.
of what everybody has told them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So that's one major difference. But it's like I get that all the time. Like, Toya, you are confident. And I'm like, just because I'm confident don't mean I'm not scared.
Yeah. Exactly. Fight
Just
through the
because I'm doing something, or you know what I'm saying, or you see me being bold, don't mean I'm not scared.
mhm. Fight through the fear.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. So the fact of the matter is, I do it anyway. There's a lot of situations I get into or go into, and I don't feel qualified. There'll be a bunch of days I wake up, don't feel pretty, and honey, that's about 5 seconds. I shake that girl. You better snap out of whatever spell that is and get your clothes on, put your makeup on. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's a battle, and oftentimes it's a battle that no one else can get you out of.
Mm-hmm.
Can't nobody make you feel ugly. That's
Yeah.
something you decide to receive yourself.
Come on.
Can't nobody make you feel like you're not valued.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that you take on yourself. See, I'm just stupid. I don't listen. Okay? I'm hard headed. And you're not going to send a put down my way and think I'm just going to chop it up like Pac-Man.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I got my own set of values and rules. And my values and rules say I'm the most beautifulest girl in the world. I'm the
Mhm.
most confident girl in the world. I don't have to be scared of anything. I don't have to be scared of no rooms. And if I am scared of the room, knock on the door and knock the door down when I get there.
Mhm.
So it's about having a different kind of mentality. So sometimes when other people come in, you can tell them all that they want that you want to. You can tell them they're beautiful, they're smart, they're talented, and until they decide to receive it,
Yep.
until
Yep.
they decide to believe in themselves for themselves, it
Mhm.
ain't nothing you can do. And I tell people like this all the time. I got plans and I got dreams. But the only person that I can't do nothing with is the one that don't believe in themselves. Because if
Mhm.
you don't believe it, I'm not going to be able to help you believe and see the dream because you
Exactly.
don't even believe you're capable of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's a real tricky situation because if the person's mental is set on they don't want to change and they just want to be, I guess, what everybody says they are instead of who they say they are, it ain't gonna be nothing you can do.
Nothing. Absolutely. And that's the sad reality. There really in some situations, there's nothing you could do. You could talk to them till your behind kick a field goal, and it still ain't gonna make no difference. You'll butt kick a field goal, and he still ain't gonna make no difference in some people's lives because they're not gonna get it. They're gonna feel insignificant, like they don't belong. And they're going to
That's right.
now, Tucson, do you think that mindset has destroyed a lot of people?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's more now than ever. That's why. That's
Why
why
you
our
say?
kids feel like. Say it again.
Why do you say that?
Because our kids killing themselves.
Mm. Wow.
We done pushed them aside
Mm-hmm.
to the point that they don't feel like they're important. So
Wow.
now we chasing the bag. While we chasing the bag, they like, well, what about me?
Mm-hmm.
There's a world full of people that's screaming out, what about me? While we keep it moving. We got to keep it moving because we don't want to be caught behind. We don't want to be left behind. So because we don't want to be left behind, we don't have no time to wait on nobody else.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so when the rubber meets the road, we're like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't. Well, you wasn't paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't paying attention. Stuff creep up on us because we trying to do us.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, it's out of hand. That's why we in this. That's why the society is in this shape we're in. There are people that can't fend for themselves. You know, there are people that are mentally incapable of coming into a room and changing their atmosphere.
Yes.
Everybody can't do that. Some people come in a room and go sit in the corner because they're so used to everybody ignoring them. So they're in the room and they've been there. Every time they come in the room, they make sure that nobody sees them. Nobody ever gave them the attention. But that's where they stay. You know why I say that? I was that dude.
Wow.
I got tired of being like that.
So what was it? Was it that you did not want to be seen, or you just didn't want to bring attention to yourself, or what did that look like?
Well, you know, here's the thing, man. There are some people. You ever? Let me see how I can say that. You ever saw somebody with Down syndrome? Is that what it is?
Yes.
They're smart people.
Yeah. Very.
Gifted.
Yeah.
All they need is a chance.
And
you'll see. You'll be like, wow. So I got lost track. I got sidetracked. But what I'm saying is, you have no. Maybe you do have an idea of how people just overlook purposely, because I dress like I want to dress. Clothes don't make me. I'll go in a room with jeans with holes in it and an old shirt, and I sit there like a dummy among people that think they know everything.
Yeah.
And I'll look at them, and I won't say a word till they give me an opportunity. I was in I met a lot of ignorant people in seminary. I'm sorry. But the instructor said, and this in leadership, they do this often. They say, tell us your name and where you're from. And first thing they come up and they say, well, you know, I'm Reverend, I'm Apostle, Bishop, and I'll just pastor the church, and we doing this and that, and I'm listening. Here's another one coming. He tell all of it, then he tell what he's teaching and everything else, and I'm listening. And all of these, and they said, well, what about you? I said, my name is Donald Toussaint. I'm from a little town called Opelousas, Louisiana, and I'm just glad to be here. I said, I was listening, and you asked us who we are. And we start, and I hear all kind of accolades. You didn't ask none of that. So there are sometimes people, I don't even know what you asked me right here, but I'm just having flashbacks of this conversation because you have no idea how it is. So people look at you and they run through your whole life based on how you look. And you might be missing the best person that can be an influence on your life. You just don't know it.
Exactly. Wow.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. You good. Toussaint, you should be a storyteller, brother. You should be.
I am.
Because I ain't talking about them kind of stories. But I'm with you, Toussaint.
You're not talking about lying.
Exactly. I ain't talking about them kind of stories, brother. I know. But my thing is, man, because you have a way of delivering a story, man, that people listen. You had Mario that she had picked up the kids, man, and she was rocking the kids in the chair while they were listening to the story. No, wait a minute. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
I can't see you.
How you doing? There he is. Hey, man. We've heard. Hey, look here. We've heard so many great things about you. She ain't said nothing bad about you yet. So you're doing good.
It's coming.
No.
It's coming. Absolutely. Look, listen. Let me ask him the question. Is he available?
He's unwinding at the moment, but he can hear you.
Okay. How do you get a person to recognize, realize, and understand that they belong in the room? Because a lot of times people feel as though they're insignificant, they are not good enough, smart enough, handsome enough, or whatever the case. How do you get a person to recognize and realize they belong in the room?
Ooh, come sit down and talk. Come here. I'm gonna let him sit.
You get the chair.
This old busted chair.
No.
Hey, good morning, sir. Good to have you. I've heard a lot of great things about you. Good to have you with us. How do you get that?
Things.
Good to appreciate it. How do you get a person to recognize, understand that they belong in the room? Because a lot of times, like I said, people feel as though they're insignificant, like they don't belong there. How did they even get there? They don't. They battle with that. So how do you get them to? How do you sit that person down? And what's your name?
My name's Ryan.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I knew already. I told you she talked about you. But how do you get them to understand that they do belong in the room, Ryan?
I guess it really comes down to the room, like the environment.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of different special occasions, that require different tact when you're dealing with people. Like for me personally, just to give a brief example, is how I grew up. I'm sure she's told you, I was the only white kid for miles where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So going into certain areas or certain rooms, school, church, the store, like, you kind of just looking around because everybody looking at you like you're different, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think it really just comes down to the individuals in the room, like who's there, who's willing to take that step out, right? And as a human being, it's part of our job to see individuals and recognize that they may be uncomfortable or something may be going on, and it's our job, morally, really, to reach out and say something. Hey, how you doing? Break that ice.
Yeah.
Talina and I, or Z, as you guys know her, we go to a particular establishment on the weekends when we get time to go out away from the kids. And it's a biker bar, right? It's all guys that ride in clubs. You got your white clubs, your black clubs, you got your mixed clubs. But for the majority of the time, it's mostly white folks in there. And we were there eating dinner one night, and there was a young guy, black guy, dreads, sitting off by himself, kind of fidgety, bouncing around. I kept checking his phone, and she said, maybe we should say something to him. I'm like, just give it a few minutes. Like, I want to see what's going on, because I'm a very observant person, especially being ex-law enforcement. I watch everything.
Exactly.
And we waited maybe 5 minutes and say, hey man, you good? Oh yeah, I'm fine. Kind of short, dismissive. Wait a couple more minutes, and then I reached out again. Hey, you waiting on somebody? Something going on? Like, you come over here and sit with us if you're not feeling comfortable. And he turned us down at first, and then he was like, you know what, forget it. And then he grabbed his chair and he came over. And it turns out, the guy, he was from Africa, and he's a anesthesiologist at the local hospital. And he just kind of goes in there periodically, but he was just kind of fidgety. So, and it turned into a good night, and we made a friend.
There you go.
Exchange numbers. So, I mean, it's really just about reaching out and making that attempt, breaking that ice, and realizing who you're talking to, right? Not everybody's the same. So don't just assume.
Exactly. And how great or how different, how much better would this existence that we have here on earth be if everybody took that stance?
Absolutely. I mean, the world will be a better dynamic all the way around. I mean, you know, do they use her name on here?
Yeah, they
Toya?
use Toya's
So,
name. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Z and Toya, they talk pretty frequently, and I
Yeah.
had the pleasure of speaking with her.
Oh, she's right there.
Toya.
In the middle, right there, in the middle of the screen.
That's her picture.
Oh,
That's her picture.
okay.
Yeah.
I took my glasses off to get
Yeah.
rid of the glare, but
Yeah, that's fine.
I had the pleasure of speaking with her the other day, and you know, we talk about so many different topics, right? But
Mhm.
I think the best one was just the games that are being played on society by
Yes.
those people that are bigger than all of us, right?
Mhm.
And one of the things that I had said was, you know, once people understand that there is a game being played and realize that the game or the joke is on us,
Yes.
because everything has to do with division anymore, the whole world is going to change and everything will be a better place.
Exactly. I'm gonna put y'all on full screen because I can see both of y'all there, but the people on TV land can't see you. So I'll put y'all on full screen. So yeah, okay, good deal. And that's right, because what happens is there is a game being played, and we've been sucked into it, and we've been sucked into it so much that we don't even recognize that it is a game. But
Right.
we have to come together collectively. We all have to come together, sit down and take a place at the table. I love what you said that you all did when y'all was in the environment that had the fellow there that didn't feel so included. He didn't feel
Right.
he didn't feel so included, but you all reached out to him. He turned it away. You reached out to him again, and something in him shook up, and I think something in him really felt the spirit of where y'all was coming from, and that's when he accepted it. And look what came out of it, man. Look what came out of it. Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean to put myself full screen, Lord Jesus. But that's what we really need to do. We're gonna pour Toussaint. Now this is one of Zamar's favorite people right here. Toussaint. He got a big head now. He crazy. He crazy. He's down there. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
Hey man, look, it's good to finally meet you for one thing. Man, look, I'm in high cotton, whatever that means.
Okay.
No, just like you said, it's our responsibility as human beings to care for somebody else.
Yes.
We
Yes.
put so much emphasis on me, my. You see the society that we live in. It's full of me and my mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get it.
Yeah.
And to the point where, go ahead. I'm sorry. You want something being said?
No.
Listen.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No. Okay. No. Even to the point that we're so selfish that we don't even have time to bring our own children in.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Where you losing the sense of family, and you getting it, getting that bag, because me, and mine has been it's plagued the land, plagued it, and we don't know how to get back to sitting at the table and talking. To what you see when you have a large family like I'm last of 12 children.
Good God.
And so can you imagine being the last of 12 children and everybody
you got beat up a lot.
You know, no man. I had big brothers.
Oh, okay.
The devil is a lie. Oh no. Mm-mm. You better not. Because see, if anybody like brothers, if they do me something, they have to answer to the dad.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to do that.
Exactly.
Because one thing that you wouldn't do with big families is you better not leave your brother or your sister out there.
Yeah.
To fend for themselves.
Exactly.
You better not.
Exactly.
They better not come back home talking about, oh, that boy at school did what? And what were you? So So they had a responsibility to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to expect them to look out for me.
Yeah.
Because that was the instructions they got before Dad and Mom left home.
Tucson, let me ask you a
And
question.
when they got
Tucson, let me ask you this question. Even in that environment, in your house growing up, you're the last of 12. Have you always felt that you were good enough? Or certainly
I thought
I
I was
know.
an alien.
Go ahead.
I thought I was an alien
Mm,
in the group.
wow.
I was like, and like I said before, I wouldn't talk loud.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't represent myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
So
want
how did
I
you
didn't want to be heard.
how did you misrepresent yourself? If you did not represent, then that means you misrepresented yourself. So how did you do that? Is it in just the fact that you were quiet and did not voice? Explain that to me.
Hey,
Help me understand that.
They said, hey, how you doing? Hey,
Wow.
how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Look, because y'all have to, it is what it is. They used to call me Dumbo,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all excuse me, and Juju,
Mm-hmm.
Black Juju,
Okay.
because I was a dark, big-eared little boy.
Mm-hmm.
I should post one of my pictures when I was a kid.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Lord have mercy.
Don't do it, man. Don't. Please don't do
Oh,
it.
have mercy. Oh, have mercy. You ever saw an ugly duckling?
You know what?
They don't know they are sworn. They don't know the sworn in them.
You know what? Some people that question that you just asked is so powerful, and the reason why I say that because so many people feel as though when you ask me, "Have you ever seen an ugly duckling?" They think of themselves. They think of themselves
Exactly.
as that ugly duckling.
But you see, ducklings develop. They don't have their full appearance. They hadn't got there yet.
Uh-huh.
Eagle is an ugly little thing.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen a baby eagle?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, versus a full-grown, bloomed, mature eagle. Now, you would never see the power in the little eagle.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see him soar in the storm, boy, you got you something.
Got you something beautiful. Exactly.
So maybe you should look at the little cub in its potential rather than just as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do with people.
Yeah.
Every day.
And we don't appreciate. Beauty could be right before us. Beauty could be right before us, and we could be looking at it, and we may not even recognize, realize, or take the time to get to know the person. Toy, you want to see what's on your heart, sis? Talk to me.
Yes, sir. I like what Diamond just said because I be the littlest thing in the room with the biggest heart. You think I'm a giant?
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm a giant when I walk into a room? Because rooms don't matter, you matter, and I think that's something that is taught as well. You know, the person who gives birth to you is probably one of the most influential people. The people who created you. Yeah. We can only think about God because, you know, we can't even see him. But I'm talking about the parents.
Yeah, come on.
They're the most influential people because they created you. There's something energetic. There's something that's running in your blood and your bones that you need to be told by them that you are great, that you are beautiful, that you matter. And when you skip that important component, it's so easy for you to just be like, you'd be like sticky tape. And every negative thing somebody say, you just swallow it up and then you just walk less than, right?
Yes.
You got to be told, keep your head up. And that's what I was taught.
Wow.
I was taught, hey, you're a girl, but you ain't got to be stopped. And I know that is very pivotal to the woman that I am today, because after that, I chose to be some things, even if it didn't coincide with everything the person that created me said. But he still taught me a certain confidence, letting me know that who I am doesn't lie in anybody else or what they think. And I think that we miss this pivotal part. So as we navigate our ways through life, don't let us have been created by people who put us down and told us we are nothing. And then you ask us why we don't fit when we walk into a room.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? The womb that I just came out of don't even like me. Are you kidding me?
Wow. Wow.
How can I be liked when I know I just got abused by the people that created me?
Mm-hmm.
These people keep you locked up in the basement at home and you don't even know it. Then when I come out, you're going to ask me why I don't. So there's a multitude of different influences that some of us could never imagine.
Yes.
On why we don't fit in when we walk into the room. You know what I mean? And there's 1,000 more reasons why, like Ryan, he don't know he my new brother yet. Hey, bro, what's up? You have to reach out to let them know that you are not in the norm. That is just a stereotype. I'm starting to notice this too, y'all, right? I'm like, where are all these racist white people at? Because the ones I keep meeting is nice ones. You understand what I'm saying? But it's the whole big agenda. Oh my gosh, y'all just can't stand each other. And every time I meet a new individual, it's not really like that. Kind of like with men, right? Because I'm a woman. It's all men are dogs. Yeah, nope. All of them not dogs, but I know I've been a bigger dog than most of them. So at the end of the day, when it comes to being and fitting in a room, you can never, and if no one ever told anyone this before today, the power of who you are doesn't lie in what anyone else says or what anyone else thinks. And it sure doesn't change when you enter into anyone else's room.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. How damn it. Let me go to Joseph. Joseph, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning? Joseph, you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay. Joseph, we're talking about.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you. We're talking about belonging and how does a person actually understand that they do belong in the room. They're good enough, wise enough, smart enough, handsome enough, if you will, to be in that room. How do you get a person to recognize and realize that?
Wow. Well, I think individually you have to cut through certain layers. As one have said, how you was raised, and if you grew up with an inferiority complex, then you got to deal with that. And there are certain social forces that contributes to that as well. I was watching the rescue team from the U.S. arriving in Turkey, and there was at least about 20 or 30 people walking in a single file, and the majority, all of them were white. And I was there, are there no black rescue workers? What's going on here? But there are forces in our society that conspire to suppress the energies of certain people. And so you got to work through that. You're good enough. You have the same abilities as anyone on the planet. But you have to overcome those impediments. And some of it, has to do with the system. And some of it has to do with people around you who are jealous. They'll suppress your energy.
How often is it,
some
Joseph?
girls,
how often is it, Joseph? How often is it that we do it to ourselves? Because
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But you do it because of so many forces that conspire to make you feel that way. So you got to work through those layers. You got to overcome all of that. Yeah, we could be our worst enemy. Yeah, but if you're in a society, say you're in Europe, or a homogenous society, or you're in an African country, a homogenous country, there the issues are different. than say in our country.
Mm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, you're not competing with the same forces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the crab in the barrel mentality in many parts of the Black community. I went through that in the projects.
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with that,
Mm-hmm.
and I still see it, although it don't affect me because I've matured beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
I see it. I can identify it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to work through all those layers. But there's nothing wrong with the person. We all have God-given abilities because we're made in God's image.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with us individually.
See,
Something
I
wrong
can agree with that. I can agree with that, brother. I can agree with that. There's nothing wrong with us individually, but a lot of times, and this the part I want to shine a light on, if you will. We don't see. See, God put greatness in each and every one of us in some kind of way, in some kind of form. Maybe not the same, it's not the same across the board, but at the same time, He put that greatness in us. But we a lot of time don't realize that we are great, and we go like Toussaint said, we'll go sit in that corner and be quiet. We'll go sit in that corner and we will be quiet. And that has nothing to do with, He placed something in us, but we go in the corner, we sit down and we want to be quiet and not display what it is. I'm not saying that we have to be cocky and arrogant, because hopefully we're not going to go because that's a whole different alley. Hopefully we're not going to go down that street either. But at the same time, we have to use what it is that we have, because if we do, I think it will help other people as well. Ryan, talk to me, brother. What do you say to that?
Hey, I was going to say this here. Some of the greatest athletes didn't realize their potentials until they got around the right coach from all racial backgrounds.
Yeah. I could go with that. I can definitely go with that. Hold on for a second, brother. Ryan, talk to me.
Can you repeat the question for me?
Yes, sir. A lot of times, see, the Creator God, He puts greatness in each and every one of us on a different level, maybe in a different form or whatever. But if we choose to be that person that Toussaint was at one time, he's certainly not that person now, and we go sit in the corner and we does not display who it is because we become intimidated or whatever because of the moment, and we don't stand up and be who we are, we're suffocating ourselves. We're really suffocating ourselves. And like Joseph just said, sometimes it takes that right coach to bring certain things out in us. Why do we suffocate ourselves? Why don't we just go into the room knowing that, we're all great together? We all gonna do great things together. Why can't we get there? Why is it so hard to get there?
Well, that's a pretty broad.
Yes.
But a lot of it, I think, has to do with suppression, and the environments that we grow up in. And again, I don't like to keep going back and forth on the same topic, but it always fits in this scenario, right? So myself, being the only person of my skin tone to come out of my mother, everybody else in my immediate family, my brothers and sisters, they're all mixed. So it's a difficult thing growing up, one ethnicity when you got the majority around you, right? So I told Toya the other day, I'm blessed because I know both sides of the fence, right? And it's like you said, you got so many factors: intimidation, you got just not knowing when or where you should speak up or say anything. And it does sometimes take a specific person to bring that out, but each and every one of us have it inside of us to do it ourselves as well. And sometimes it takes a specific situation that causes that piece of you inside to wake up and snap. And that's how it was for me. I used to be timid, laid back, chilling in the cut all the time, not trying to get in the mix of anything, because anytime I was around, somebody always wanted to fight. Somebody always wanted to fight. So, and it took just a specific individual in school in that aspect. And I had just spoke about this the other day. Um, Here in Detroit, there's a small, I guess, city inside of Detroit, right? You got
Mhm.
Detroit, and you got this little area in the middle. It's called Brightmoor. It's not a very pleasant place to be for anybody.
Yeah.
Um, but I was going to school there, and I used to get picked on and fight every day. Didn't
Mhm.
matter. It was dudes, it was girls. Everybody was trying to pick on me, and um, you know, it's funny because racially, young white kids, or especially white boys, they're very emotional. They're very like just what's the word? They're inside themselves, right? They
Mhm.
don't know how to
Like
pick
introverts.
up for themselves
Mhm.
and put it out,
Yeah.
right? My
Mhm.
son is very much like that right now.
Mhm.
Um, so after being beaten on and teased and bullied so much, the principal pulled me in the office and she said, you know, you some point you're gonna have to fight back.
Mhm.
She said, I'm tired of seeing it every day.
Yeah.
And she said, as long as you're fighting back, you're never gonna get in trouble.
Mhm.
And you know, it took a few days for that to sink in. And then when I first threw that punch and busted that dude's face up, it was over with. Nobody wanted to fight anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
then that brought out that part of me in a school level, right?
Mhm.
But in my adult life, I've always kind of been a leader, but maybe not for the right things,
Mhm.
right? Um, Used to be involved in a lot of things I shouldn't have been involved in. And the way that my childhood was, I could have very easily gotten involved in gangs or gotten
Mhm.
involved in biker clubs,
Mhm.
just doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing because my household was broken.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a key to this conversation as well, is not having a complete family unit causes that suppression because you don't
Mhm.
have both sides lifting you up. You
Yeah.
can't, you know, as much as we see it out there, it's not a woman's place to raise a man. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they can't do
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. That's
right?
good. That's good.
But
Mhm.
it takes a man to know a man's
Mhm.
insides.
Yeah.
They'll never know, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So there's certain things that it brings to the table, like, you know, my wife and my son, he falls down, he hurts himself, he gets up teary-eyed and she's babying him. I'm like, "Hey, suck it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get up."
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
it's a difference.
Yeah. We got some. We need to be doing something right now. And crying is not a part of it. Come on here. Come on here. Zamari, what's on your heart, sis? She's so happy right now.
I am. I love my baby so much. Like
She's
I
so
could just
happy.
sit here and look at him and just be happy with that. Like, no, I mean, what he said really. To see, this is why I love my husband, because he can put it so easy and plainly, and I'm just like, I don't even have to say nothing. Like, he
Look,
can just
what he
talk
said. What he said.
what he said, basically.
Exactly. Exactly. Mhm.
But yeah,
But
no, I mean, I think like with Toussaint, you know, what he had said about the suppression, and you know, he was that kid that was kind of off in the corner. And yes, they know I have my own mind, love. Trust me, they know. But being suppressed like that, because like I said earlier when we first started, right? I was that same way. I was very mousy, and but a lot of that does go back to traumas or
Mhm.
home environments. All of that ties in, and that was something I learned later, and as I continue to mature into adulthood and well past adulthood, is that a lot of the issues that I had and the ways that I was because of those traumas in my life. And
Mhm.
I didn't really ever have the chance to grow or mature in a healthy way and discover who I really was or who I wanted to be or where I really fit in. And so I always kind of felt like that misfit that belonged in the corner. I didn't belong in the room, like you said, with everybody else. I didn't feel like I had a right to be included.
Mhm.
And honest to God, like I said, I had that coming to Jesus moment when we were going to church, and God kind of dealt with me on that. But I really do credit a lot of who I am to my husband, and to his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
That is who I credit for who I've become today and how I've kind of come out of my shell so much. And I've found my voice and my power through that. Because without him and his grandmother, especially, like, I don't think I'd be here in this form today.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to find our own power and find our own confidence in spite of what life has thrown at us. And sometimes some people just don't know how to do that. Sometimes it just takes you roaring one time.
Yes.
And you're good.
Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Phone lines open. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input as to what you think about how do you belong? How do you find that place? And what does it feel like? Toya, are you with us?
I am with you.
What does it feel like, Toya, when you really find that space, that happy place in your life where you know that you really belong and you grow your wings and you start to fly, you start to soar? How does that feel? What is that feeling like? Explain that to me.
It feels addictive. Like that was like another high. You feel like if you ever watch like Snow White and Cinderella, which one was it? Snow White. She's the one that had all the animal friends and she would sing to the birds and all that stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a certain kind of high when you love everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like euphoria, exactly what it sounds like. You know what I'm saying? This amount of extreme happiness about everything, about life, about waking up, a deep understanding. So that feeling is like a high you always want to chase, which is, I think, why most people chase religion more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it's those pivotal breaks in reality that help you get to understand that there's the spiritual being. You're not doing it on your own, and you need the strength. And when you start to go through that process and you understand who you really are, and I hate to have to pull it out there, you know, but from what the Christian Bible, right? Because I feel like they're all the same, but one of them is closest to the truth as possible, because we humans ain't never gonna tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But when I looked in the Christian point of view and I started to look at what God said I was, it changed the game for my life. You understand what I'm saying? So it put me in a different perspective, because that was my father above my father confirming with me about, you're a room shaker, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. No matter what the room is, you can put yourself in a position, you understand, where you can come the light of that room, right? And again, it's about recognizing our power. And oftentimes, we're our own worst enemies. Nobody come to us and say that you making the room dark, get out.
Mm-hmm.
We be inside our own head and say, I don't fit in, I don't blend in, I don't this, I don't that. And then the other people be looking at you like, oh, well, yeah, why you not trying to blend in? Why you not trying to fit in? Even though I'm not either. And then we're still walking around with misconceptions. But it's really us. We talk ourselves out of who we really are. Other people allow to put their input and their thoughts, society, and we use that as a tool and a gauge. And then here we go, lost in the sauce. We don't know who we are. We sure can't be confident about it.
Wow.
So we have to remember, it is up to us. It is the devil's job to distract us from being royalty, of how smart you really are, the things we really can do. That's their job. But it's up to us to remember and declare. And declare now, again, I'm going with the Christian Bible, because the story of the man named Jesus, which is a story that I love. I thank someone for dying for me, because the rest of you fools ain't gonna do it. So I thank someone for even being a thought. But he was born in a manger. Again, we're putting basis on who I am by where I come from, and that story reminds you that that's not true. Your power doesn't come from where you come from or who people say you are. It comes from the Creator, the main Creator that created you. He created you with a power, and how are you going to use it?
Wow, that's good. And I like how you tied that in, because you said he was born in a manger, not in a mansion, not with the silver spoon in his mouth, but was born in a manger outside in a field, in a barn, in a shed, or whatever, however they want to paint it up. But certainly was not born with the silver spoon, riches, and all these different things. I changing the subject, and I'm gonna throw this out there. Then I'm gonna come right back. Go, this to take us in a whole different direction. A lot of those pastors think they have to have millions of dollars. They think they have to have millions of dollars. They have to have somebody, have their congregation to buy them a brand. They have a jet. They want their congregation to buy them a brand new jet. I never heard a story about Jesus having a jet, Lamborghini, or anything like that. I know they didn't have these things back in those days, but anything equivalent to that of his time. But that's, like I say, that'll change the whole conversation. So we're not gonna go there. Joseph, what's on your heart, brother?
And that's one of my subjects, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think that the lust or the love of money and power is the beginning of anyone's downfall.
Mm-hmm.
When that becomes an idol, because it really takes you away from that realm of God. And I think that's what the rich man's problem was when Jesus confronted him. But I'm like Toya, when I read the Jesus birth motif, I find so much riches in that story.
Mm-hmm.
Not only from the Christian or biblical perspective, but for my own life. And that was one of the things that helped me to grapple with my inferiority complex. Not only the fact that I was kicked out of school in the 7th grade and read on a 7th grade level till I was about 20-something. But when I read in that Bible where it says, he that lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives all things freely and upbraids not. I prayed for that. And when I was able to overcome dyslexia, which I didn't realize I had dyslexia until years later. But when I was able to overcome that after that prayer, that was when happiness kind of began for me, because I began to see the world a lot differently. And in fact, I began to respect the value of all people,
mm-hmm.
Not just in myself, but all people. And then I began to understand the things that some of our brothers and sisters were grappling with back home, from the neighborhood that I came out of.
Mm-hmm.
So it opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I think for me, that was my beginning of a kind of happiness,
mm-hmm.
Knowing better, being able to look at things critically and to be able to listen to everybody and listen to other people. And instead of just judging things on face value.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm with Toya on that.
Good deal. Toussaint, let me ask you this question, brother. Can we really find happiness, joy, and peace if we're not walking in in the fullness of who we are? If we have to shelter and hide in that corner, how do we find peace? How do we find happiness? How do we find joy?
Oh man, somebody else has to let you know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else has to usher you into that.
Mm-hmm.
My mama used to always tell me, she said, she would look at me, young. She say, "You the 7th son."
Mm-hmm.
I never did figure out what the heck she was talking about. Excuse me. Sorry.
Every now and then, Ryan, a word will slip out every now and then. I had to put my little.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? But what I'm saying is, Mama, what you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Because I didn't. I'm just. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she'd always say that. And I was thinking as everybody was talking, when I was a little boy, and I was in the 9th grade, and I decided that I didn't want to play football because the coach grabbed me around the collar.
Mm-hmm.
And my daddy, and I told him, I said, "My daddy don't grab me like that."
Mm-hmm.
I said, I ain't, and that was it. I was good. really, I thought I was good anyway, because if I could reach the ball, I'd catch it.
Mm-hmm.
If it touched my finger, I had it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd chase a ball down. But he grabbed me around the corner and I quit. And I
Mhm.
decided I wanted to run track from that point on.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know my potential. And I'm not boasting or bragging. I'm just telling you in the conversation that we had. And the track coach wanted to see how fast could I run the quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And he took two of the 200-meter or 200 yards back then, again, uh, runners, and put one starting with me and the other one at the 200-meter mark.
Mm-hmm.
And in ninth grade, the little boy, um, and I was looking at my brothers, and he would always, that ball was so fast, he'd come out the blocks and broke his toe. So and Rodney Milburn, he's actually a relative of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Dice. So I knew I had something in me, but I didn't know. So here I am, and the gun goes off, and me and the first one, and he was pretty quick. I knew he was, but
Mm-hmm.
long story short, I beat both of them,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
and then I knew, or I had some idea of some of the potentials that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I mean, through high school, the coach, I was a quarter miler,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to run the relays, the 4x100, or to these sprinters. I say, Coach, ain't nothing but another lane right there. And so if you have somebody that sees you for your potential rather than the coach put it in you.
Mm-hmm.
A coach. You need a life coach. People need a life coach, because if you don't see it in yourself, you need somebody
Mm-hmm.
to see it in you. That's
Exactly.
what I'm trying to say in the long.
Mm-hmm.
You just need somebody. And Raheem, I think that is our responsibility for those that have felt like that coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason why we were like that is at this point in our lives, we see people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we consider ourselves, and we say, okay, I see you. Now let me give you the opportunity to see what's in you.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me see if I can help you draw it out.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, how important is that for a child, that the adult in their life, the role model, if you will, in their life, you tell them, you walk up to them one day and you say, look, I see you. I see you. And that could pour a sense of belong, because a lot of times I grew up in the projects as well, and a lot of times I know people that had great potential, but nobody took the time to tell them, I see you. I see you. And so how much would that mean to a child?
Oh, coming from a man who's never known his father,
Mm.
I didn't have any good male role models in my life for a long time other than my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my wife would say I'm pretty much a spitting image of him, give or take, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Man, a few words. All you got to do is look at you a certain way, and he mean business.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a big heart, and
Yeah.
he'll do anything for anybody um, that's within his means, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know what that did for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that him being in my life and doing the things that he did, and spending the time with me that he did, taking me out and showing me the things that he did, saved me from going over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
it's vital for us as parents to be involved in our children's life and let them know, hey, I see you struggling. I see
Yeah.
you going through these things, but we can get through this. Let me help you. You just got to let me know. And that's the thing is getting people to uh, speak up,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't always have to be negative. They can speak up on positives, but
Mm-hmm.
this world is a negative place right now.
Yeah.
So you got to get out the gunk.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you don't talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and a lot of the cats that I deal with in my job, I'm
Mm-hmm.
a operations supervisor, so
Mm-hmm.
I get lots of turnaround, and some of it is my doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get these young guys, and you hear a lot of these guys are coming out from the city out to the suburbs, thinking that they'll get in and get
Mm-hmm.
a good job. And where I'm at, it is a fantastic place to be. Um, but they've never had any upbringing. They've never
Mm-hmm.
had anybody say, "I see you." They've never had
Yeah.
anybody give them that corrective action. So
Mm-hmm.
then they come to me broken, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to fix them. And the hardest part is I don't see color, so
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at me sideways because I'm trying to teach them something
Yeah.
and fix them in a way that they've never had it. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of those guys, they don't take that information well,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Why?
create a
And
problem.
see that, brother, you just said something that's so powerful, man, because it doesn't matter to me if a person is hungry. If a person is hungry and they're extremely hungry, it shouldn't matter where the food comes from. It shouldn't. If you're hungry, and say if me being who I am, and I saw one of my Caucasian brothers, man, and I walk down the street I'm in Atlanta. I walk down the street and I see one of my Caucasian brothers. He's hungry. It shouldn't matter that it's coming from me or who it's coming from. Your brother, you're hungry. Eat, because if you don't eat, you're gonna die. Eat. And see, that man. Go ahead, brother. That's so powerful what you just said. Go ahead.
It's true, all right. So it should matter who it's
Yeah.
coming from, but the problem is these guys grew up however they grew up, missing whoever it was out of their household, so they never had that correction,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know how to receive that correction. So then
Mm-hmm.
they take it the wrong way, and they either lash out in anger, or they
Mm-hmm.
go report me to HR and call me a racist.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
go through the ringer
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
you know the people that I have there at work. I mean, I've got every walk of life in that building, and
Yeah.
they just look at these guys sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you talking about? Just
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
in what he's telling you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're 20 years old. He's 42.
Yeah.
He's trying to give you a life skill
Mm-hmm.
and leave you in a position to where you can grow and make money, and you could just plant your feet right here
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of your life, and you're all good. You don't have to worry about looking for
Yeah.
anything else. And these guys, they just throw it to the wind because either they don't want the correction or they don't care. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to find that that's another big issue out here right now with young cats. Is they just don't care,
Yeah. Exactly.
and that comes from not being cared for.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion, but it seems to be pretty valid to me.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's what it is, man. Because a lot of times, how do you feed somebody? We're talking about feeding them. How do you feed somebody something that they're not used to? How do you feed them? If a person is only used to eating bologna sandwiches every night, and you take a great big old T-bone steak and mashed potatoes and a nice meal, you take it to them, and They might look at you like you look crazy, man. Because hold on, man, what the baloney at? Where's the what the baloney? Because they're not used to that. And so keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're needed. I appreciate everything that you're doing for them. You're absolutely needed, man. And we can't save. We have to know and understand that we can't save everybody, but the ones that we can will make an absolute difference. Will make a
It's
difference.
funny you say that because one of my employees just said that to me today.
Wow.
Even though I had a short day, he said, because I got an individual who's starting to become an attendance problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I done pushed management off of his case. They're trying to write him up to get rid of him and do all these things. And I'm providing every avenue for this young man to stay at work. And today he called out again. So
Mm-hmm.
the one guy I was with this morning, he just looked at me. He's like, "Man, I see you help everybody." He said, "But you can't help everybody. Not
Yeah.
not everybody wants to be saved." So it's
Exactly.
funny you said that.
Exactly. And that's the reality, man. You can't. Even though we want to, it's in our heart to. But man, if they don't want it, man, you can't give it to. You can't give a person something that they don't want. If you're gonna give them a gift, make sure that they want to receive the gift that you're giving them. Outside of that, man, you're wasting your time. And I don't know this guy. I'm certainly not speaking about his situation. I don't know what it is. But in certain situations, you're wasting your time when you try to save somebody that don't want to be saved.
But at the
Navy.
same time, you should
Exactly.
always try at
Yeah.
least
Oh
once.
yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shanavia,
Yes, sir. Good morning.
good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right this morning.
Having a good morning. Good. We're talking about how does a person know that they belong in the room? Shanavia, how did you recognize that you belong in the room, that you're good enough, you're smart enough, you're pretty enough to belong in the room? How did you recognize and realize that?
Mm, that's interesting because I had to unlearn that first.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had to plant a seed in me and let me know that I was worthy to even. And then the next person came along and watered that seed. So I had, we took a few weeks ago or maybe a week or so ago. And if it was not for my village positing those things inside of me, I would have never known because all was that I was different.
Mm-hmm.
And other than my mom, we were us in the household. And, where my grandma taught me to speak your mind in the household with my mom, that would get you busted upside your head. So, strong rooted environment to be chopped down. And I had because I was so confused as to which one was the right way, because I'm supposed to stand tall. I'm supposed to influence the room instead of letting the room influence me. But when I stepped into we go break you. And so part of me had I learned, and through those deposits, those nuggets with my video. So now when I walk into a room, my aunt said something to me. She was like, "Isn't for yourself, it's to help build someone else." And I held on to that because I'm like, if I'm going through all of this, it has to be for a reason. And why? Then I can hold on to that and I can endure it, because then I can give somebody else, keep them from having to go. I can deposit those same nuggets into them. So that's what helped. I was just in a room that I know I was not qualified for it last Wednesday. These people have on me. They've written for, the John Hopkins hospital. They worked, for a little country Mississippi behind was in the room presenting right along with them.
Yeah.
So to where I'm just like, okay, we can go a little bit harder now. You deserve to be here. You've worked.
Exactly. And that's what it is, man. We have to know, recognize, and understand that we do belong there. We do belong there. And a lot of times people live their whole lives, man, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old or what have you, never finding that place where they or accepting the fact that they belong. That they belong. Let me go. We got a couple of people on the phone lines. Let me see who we got next. We got Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem in the Morning Glow family.
Man, we're talking about how does a person know that I belong in the room? Because a lot of times people live their lives, Leonard, and they just don't take the time to realize that they do belong in the room. They're good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, handsome enough, or whatever, or what have you, to be in that room. How do you tell a person that, Leonard, that have not grasped the concept yet?
How'd you get in there? How did you get in there?
That's good. That's a good question.
But trust me, rooms you don't belong in, you don't get into.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on how you got in the room to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're looking at life through those types of glasses, that's more of a personal issue. I can hold my own in any room.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never walked in a room feeling less than anyone.
That's good.
So I can identify with that.
Mm-hmm.
I know about being unprepared,
Mm-hmm.
but never non-deserving to be in the room.
Okay. That's good. That's good. K with the E. What do you say to that? How have you got to the point where you know that you belong in the room, K? And good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. Fine, everyone. You know, it's funny y'all talking about that. My cousin was hanging out with this girl and her auntie, and didn't know that the auntie was going that way, and that he ended up in a gay club, and a guy walked up to him and said, "You don't belong here," because he looked like he didn't belong there. And it was too funny when he told me about it. So you can definitely end up in a room that you don't belong in,
Mm-hmm.
following people and not knowing where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd have been to a meeting before, and I was like, why am I at this meeting? Like, I was just sitting there listening, and they was talking big figures and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so confused. Like, why am I in this meeting? Well, when I tell you, the Creator had me in that meeting because I was going to become staff with that company. And so I needed to know this is how they get their money. This is what they do with their money and all of that. And when I tell you I found it out before I came staff, I did. Just being invited to a meeting. So I've been invited to quite a few meetings. And when I get there, I'm like, why am I here? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't fit in here. I don't have nothing to do with this. But since they invited me, I'm here. I'm listening. And it happens. You do end up places that you be like, why am I here? You don't even know the reason you're there. That man upstairs put you there.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we do end up places and we try to figure out, why are we here? You can't figure out why you're here. You just got to do them for that moment. You got to just pay attention. You're there to pay attention. Pay or pay attention.
Exactly.
So,
that's
and
good.
I'm like Linda said, I don't go in a room that I don't feel uncomfortable, and I can hold my own in any room.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Have you always belonged or felt as though you belong in the room, Cassandra?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
I haven't, and that is because of my personal. That was a personal thing for me, because I grew up feeling very insecure and inadequate. So when I'm standing in front of 5,000 people at Sundance Film Festival, and I'm talking on the same stages as major stars, A-listers, stars, and I'm like, what in the world? What happened? How, this is crazy. But I know that I was already equipped for it.
Yes.
And people will make you feel like you don't belong in a place. They will do that. But you have to know, and I'm a mouthpiece. I always have been. And people have always wanted me to be quiet. Civil and human rights is not an easy thing to stand for. It really isn't. And, Dr. Charles Steele says something that blows me away every time I'm in his presence. That's the president of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, national president. And he says, I don't want to be I don't want no scared Negroes around me because they'll get you killed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you can't be afraid. If you're standing for something, for the things that I stand for, I will die for.
Yeah.
And I'll stand in front of anybody and say that. And that's intimidating sometimes to people. They hate you for it, but it's okay because I've gotten to the place now where I know who I am. I know what I'm called to do. And it doesn't matter who's around or who doesn't like me. I'm going to stand up for what I believe.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Badger, have you always felt as though you belong in the room?
I kind of just, if I get invited, I get invited.
Mm-hmm.
How I personally feel, I'd rather not say.
Say it again.
How I personally feel, I'd rather not say.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Zamari, talk to me, sis.
I think I'm good. We've all pretty much said it. You know, either we felt like it, or we felt like we belonged. We felt like the outcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think a lot of us here have had that experience of feeling like we belong in the corner and we're the outcast, and something happens in our life where
Which is more comfortable?
it depends on where you are in your walk.
Mm-hmm.
I used to feel comfortable being invisible.
Wow.
Because if I'm invisible and I'm in that corner, then I don't have to worry about being hurt by anybody because nobody's looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to worry about being disappointed or let down. So sometimes it's easier, right, to be in the corner when you're in that place. But once you come out of that and you find your voice, you find yourself, you find your confidence, then you're comfortable wherever you are.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Ryan, which one do you think most people would find more comfortable? The being out front or being in the safety, using that safety net, which is the corner, where you don't have to be heard, don't have to be seen, just be there, and that's it. Which one you think most people find more comfortable?
I think most people find it more comfortable to be just left alone.
Mm-hmm.
They like being in that corner. They like being insignificant, simply because it alleviates the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to feel like they're held responsible for anything. They don't feel like they have to put on that act or the show. They don't have to fake it till they make it. They can just be off in the corner hiding. So, but I appreciate people that are willing to come forward, because it takes gusto, it takes some guts, you know, to assume the role that you're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be hiding off in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
We're not meant to be alone. And it doesn't matter what walk of faith you come from, you're not supposed to be by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's too much burden in this life to try and hide off in the corner and let it compress you down to where you're nothing.
Exactly.
So it's good to, even if it's, you know, getting amongst a group of hermits, eventually one of those crabs is going to crawl out and take the helm, and maybe that'll, you know, bring some others up with them. But it's definitely easier to be insignificant. I mean, it's the same for me. I started out low man on the totem pole. You know, everybody noticed the work I was doing, but I could just go through my day, coast, and get done and be out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I don't have that opportunity anymore because I stepped up and took that role. So now it's all day long, phone calls, emails, text messages.
Yeah.
So
it's called accountability.
Yes, it's accountability, but it's also, it puts you in a position to where you're less comfortable for sure.
Absolutely. 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 Toya, you want to tell you with the Toya?
Yeah, I'm hanging in here by a thread.
Okay, well, Toya, I want to say something to you. Let me say this to you real quickly before we move on. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
There you go. Throwing me off again. Congratulations on what?
You got the job. You have an interview this morning, right?
Okay, you better say that then. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and take that. Now I see what road you're going down. Okay. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yes,
So
sir.
you walk
Thank you.
you walk in
Let's
there.
do it. I'm with it.
You walk in there and you tell them that they had a position that was available. They had.
That's right.
They,
That's right.
they
I'm
don't,
with it. You already know.
yeah,
I'm
they don't
glad
have
you know your sis.
yeah. Just tell them they had a position. They had it. Yeah, they had it. But it's filled now.
Yeah.
So what we need to do? What's our next
And
move?
listen, let me thank y'all
Mhm.
for y'all prayers.
Absolutely. 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 Now, Toya, is it safe? Is there safety in being that hermit in that corner? And
Absolutely.
why?
Because sometimes you need to energize. You know, we forget this world is about energies and spirits, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just watched something last night that reminded me about the incubus and the succubus and meditation. And sometimes you need downtime. Everything got assistance maintenance check.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what you're not going to be able to do? You're not going to be able to use that system temporarily. We are sorry for your inconvenience. Okay? So, yes, sometimes you do have to unplug out of this matrix.
Mm-hmm.
This place will drive you crazy. Talking about fitting in rooms. And like Kay said, all rooms, honey, ain't gonna be the room for you. And you gotta go and you gotta get that stuff off of you. So absolutely, yes, there are moments in life that you're gonna be in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to be in the wilderness. And it should only be for moments, not forever. So absolutely, I believe that there are moments in life where sometimes, yeah, you gotta unplug. And that's that you time, that's that meditation time, that's that time you give back to just the universe. Not your job. You know what I'm saying? Not your family, not nobody, because you might have missed a step. But I do think that there are moments in life that those seasons are for specific people. And I got to thank bro about that. Reminded me about that the other day, that conversation we had about seasons.
Yes.
And periods in time that are yours and that are not yours. And some of them seasons include a sleep season, a hibernation season. You got to unplug. You got to check out for just a moment. Because your season is gonna come back around.
And you know what? There's always a place in the broadcast that, and I say that God tell me that okay, it's time to turn the corner. And I think we just hit it because it opened up the door to the next conversation we're about to have. But before we do that, does anybody have anything that they want to say on this topic before we move on? Okay, Shanavia.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the Army I saw young Americans, young black men, young white men, young black women, and young white women come in basic training, and you could see all of our insecurities, just about inferiorities and all of that. But I watched those men and women turn into some of the most powerful leaders, man. I guess the military got a program, a nice program, where they can, fashion you or coach you and bring out those things that are in you that you didn't even realize was there. And so I just appreciated that experience in the military to this day. I appreciate having lived that and experienced that. That's it.
Good deal. Good deal. Navy.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and you really need to think about the question I'm about to ask. And this is a question, the direction we're going in right now. But I need you to really think about what I'm about to say. Okay.
Oh Lord. Okay, you gotta start with me. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with you. And think of yourself as, I guess, as a seed, but as a seed person, whatever, however you want to put this thing, however you want to frame it in your mind. But does dirt on your face mean that you're being buried, or planted? And what is the difference?
That's a good question.
Give me a good answer.
I'm trying. I'm trying. I think that it depends on the dirt. I feel like it's, sir.
No, you said, I know I was about to say, you said it depends on the dirt, but I was going to go a different direction. But go ahead, finish your thought.
I mean, because I'm trying to analogy, because oftentimes whenever we do have dirt poured on us, so to speak, it's not that we're not going to grow from it. But I mean, I like to think of it in this way. But some of that dirt has boo-boo in it. And that serves, and we may not want the boo-boo on us. But how many beautiful from the boo-boo? I mean, like, all of us, I feel like all of us have been in a position to where we have felt like that we went down in the mud. And how many of us like the rose that grew from the concrete? Now that wasn't dirt. That was, I don't know. I'm trying to wrangle it together, Mr. Right?
Yeah.
But I feel
well, it could be either or though. Either you being buried or you're being planted. Which one are you? Which one is happening to you at that particular time? And a lot of this depends on the receiver of who you actually asking this question and what stage they are in their life. And so there's a lot of things that plays into this. But go ahead. You're doing good. Go ahead.
I agree. I mean, like, even going back to what Toya had previously said about I'm gonna always choose to be planted rather than if you think you burying me. I don't know, y'all know I ain't no Bible scholar, nothing like that, but I know they all that shook the dirt off of him until he rose to the top. So I'm gonna always choose to shake the. I'm never gonna let anybody bury me.
Okay, good deal. Tucson, what do you say to that? Tucson, dirt on your face. Are you being planted or are you being buried? What is the difference? Tucson? So that's your way not to answer the question. Just be quiet, huh? I just ain't gonna say nothing. I'll just be quiet right now, right? Go to somebody else. Cassandra, no, he's at work. He's probably on another call. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Talk to me. Are you being planted or are you being buried?
Well, sometimes it may be one or the other, but both of them can be good, because sometimes people think that they're burying you, but you're actually being planted to grow. So there's scripture that says that one plants, one waters, and God gives the increase. So the beautiful thing is, even if you're in the dirt, God is allowing somebody to do that, and then you come out of it, smelling like a rose. I'll use the analogy that Navy did. I've never really worried about which way that was going, because I know that there's always been a divine plan. So even when someone thought they were throwing me in a grave, I rose again. So over and over again. So it can work either way for you. So it's just what God has planned is always my thing. No one is going to do anything to me that God does not allow, because I belong to him. And so if he lets them do that to me, then that means he has a greater plan in store for me.
Okay, that's good. K with an E, then going to Zamari, then we're gonna go to Ryan. I want to see what's on Ryan's heart on this one right here. I see he got his finger, but I think he's thinking over there. So K with an E, what's on your heart?
You said planted or what?
Either buried or planted. Are you buried, or are they burying you, or are they planting you?
Most definitely planting. I'd never buried. Everything, nobody can bury me but me, and I ain't ready to bury me.
Okay. Zamari?
I'd like to say, if I've got dirt on my face, it's because I've emerged. I've already been buried, I've already been planted. I've been through it all.
Mhm.
Now I've emerged.
Wow. That's good. That's good. Ryan, talk to me, brother. He's shaking his head. Yeah, he like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Mhm.
I tend to think of that question as a spiritual question as well as a physical. And I think as people, we need to understand that it's okay to be buried from time to time because there's certain
Mhm.
parts of your life that have to be buried. And that dirt on your face, like my wife said, is you emerging from the change. You know,
Mhm.
I use this analogy all the time. Like it's winter time right now, and where we're at, you go outside and you look, everything's dead. The ground is
Mhm.
completely covered in snow. It looks devoid of life. It's cold. It's frail. You feel like death being outside on certain days,
Mhm.
but you always have to remember, even though that grass or them trees or those other things in nature are buried out there, you have to look to the future and remember that the spring is coming and there's going to be a rebirth.
Mhm.
And it's
Mhm.
very, very important for your inner being, your mental, your spirit, to remember those things, that the seasons are here for a reason. And it's always to promote growth. And death may be sad, but those seasons of death in the end are a blessing because we're watching the old go away and we're welcoming in the new.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's amazing that you say that because I tell people all the time to present themselves like the oak tree in the wintertime. Because the oak tree in the wintertime has no leaves. All the leaves are gone. So this is exactly authentically who I am. I don't have the leaves to hide or to shield or to cover up anything. I have no leaves. It's that oak tree in the wintertime. That's what you need to be every day. Every day. Badger, what's on your heart, brother? Are you being planted or are you being buried?
Uh, that depends on your mindset.
Badger, we talking about you, brother.
Here we go.
Badger, I think he got something going on in the
Yeah.
background. I'll come back to you, brother. Leonard, what do you say? Are you being planted or are you being buried?
Well, to me, it's neither planted nor buried. I love dirt. So when you
God,
bury something, there's no expectation.
God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. Go go ahead,
But,
brother.
but planting something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
If you nurture something that's planted, it'll grow. The
Mm-hmm.
dead ain't going nowhere if it's buried and it's dead.
That's not always true, Leonard. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Well, I mean,
Let me explain why I say that because somebody listening may not understand. They say, Raheem, what are you talking about? If you know the process of a seed, and before a seed is actually planted and can bring forth life, it have to totally die. That seed have to totally dry out and die, and then you can plant it in the ground, and then that if you plant a seed, if you take a seed out of an apple and you just plant it in the ground, that seed's not gonna do anything until it dies first, until it totally dries out and dies first, and then it'll start sparking. Then you start seeing something come up through the ground. And so, but anyway, go ahead, finish your thought, brother. That's my thought. Go ahead, finish yours.
I guess it depends on the person's point of view.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sometimes dirt is great. Sometimes great is dirt is great camouflage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It
Sometimes,
is.
sometimes you notice how, I don't know how many people garden
Mm-hmm.
and things like that.
I do.
But you play in dirt,
Mm-hmm.
the better your nails get,
Mm-hmm.
your hand when you're in good soil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a difference between even dead and living soil.
Yeah.
And we tend to believe that, when you're looking at it from a burial point of view, that's so final.
Mm-hmm.
As if life is just over with after that. I'm not one of those people that believe that type of thing.
Good deal. Good deal. And you're right about that plant though, but we got that red dirt down here in Georgia, not Georgia, but down here in Georgia. So so it's a little different, brother. It's a little different. Toya, you want to see what are you being planted or are you being buried? Toya might have
Well, planted and buried is going in the same direction. But I like the direction where Z went to, because getting that dirt off your face can mean that you're sprouting up.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're buried and you rise up, or you get up from up underneath that, or you resurrected or grow, or whatever direction that you're going and you're bringing blood back to life, that's some remnants of where you were, not where you are. You know what I mean? You're not buried anymore. You got dirt on your face. So again, I think, when it comes to life, there's a whole bunch of different perspectives that can lead us into a different direction. But it is what it is. You got to access now. And for me, I'm trying to be planted and deep rooted. You understand what I'm saying? Looking for some stability and able to provide a good source of stability. Because, some of these trees out here that's planted is more expensive to get your hands on than others. And some of these trees are just planted and a strong wind blowing and they'll fall right on down. So being planted, it still depends on your strength. If it's going to really, serve what purpose it's going to serve. But I try to be planted,
Mm-hmm.
and people will try to bury you. But again, that's the devil's job.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's good. Toussaint, you back with us?
Yeah, man, I finally made it back.
Okay. Toussaint, if dirt is on your face, are you being planted or buried?
Oh God. Oh man. That's good right here.
Why thank you, sir.
Genius.
Why thank you, sir. I come on with a good one every now and then. Every now and then.
That's good.
Every now and then. I might come on with a good one. I might got one more good one in me this year. And it's just what is it, February? Yeah, I might got another one.
Yeah. Ask me that one more time so I can get that to my head.
If dirt is on your face,
planted or buried?
Are you being planted or buried?
Both. You got to bury the seed. I don't mind. I don't mind either. You do what you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put dirt on my face,
mm-hmm.
there are people that try to bury folks all the time. But see, here's the thing right here. For a seed to grow,
mm-hmm.
it got to be buried. You got to. I know you throw some seeds off on just throw them out there, but the sun get hold to them,
mm-hmm.
or they might be on stony ground. You know the parable of
mm-hmm.
the sower that
yeah.
sowed seeds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But see, a good seed, it don't make no difference what you do to it. You ever saw a rose grow? The story of do you remember the story of the rose that was carelessly put in the dump on in a landfill dumping ground,
mm-hmm.
that just decided I'm gonna bloom right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I say this to the listening audience, because some people may see it as a bad thing to have dirt thrown on your face and feel like you're being buried. That's good. That's perfect. Being buried or planted is actually the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it depends on how you're looking at it. It's like a problem. The problem is not the issue. It's how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got people full of potential feel like, oh, I got dirt on my face. Oh, woe is me. No, it's your mindset is the problem. Change your mindset. And don't look at it as they buried me. Look at it as they planted me. It might have been carelessly, but good. Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Raheem, you're a genius.
Why, thank you,
I
sir.
applaud you today.
Oh, just today, huh? After all this time, just
Well,
today.
no, I mean, you be sitting down. I can see you, and I'm doing it right now. Sitting in a rocking chair or recliner, leaning back with your hands on the back of your head, and you look up into the gaze
Look.
into the heavens, and you're being downloaded with this jewel of or vault of information that you can just present to the people and open their mindset. And here we come on the DKM with people from all over the place, and we just come in the room and we just blank, and all of a sudden we explode into a bunch of information for the world.
Exactly.
You're a genius.
And what am I gonna say? You can say it for me. Go ahead, say it for me.
What you gonna say?
To God be the glory.
Oh,
there you go.
To God be the glory.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Boom.
I think Badger's free. Go ahead, Badger.
Yeah, my kiddo hit his knee on the table and he was not happy.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He was just getting up on the kitchen, getting ready to eat breakfast, and just hit his knee.
Badger, talk to me, Badger. Are you being planted or are you being buried?
I also wanted to say both, because you can learn from both. And some things that things that get said, or that's the analogy I'm taking from Dirt, right?
Yes. Okay.
It can be everything from they don't understand you, or who you are, or how deep you are, or any of that kind of stuff. Some people just throw dirt because they ain't happy with where they're at.
True.
So it's who you decide to be in the moment. To let it bury you, or to just let it add to your growth.
That's good.
More nutrients.
That's good. That's good. Ryan, I see you shaking your head over there, brother. What's on your heart?
I just agree with what he said. It's really about the situation.
People in circles, in certain circles, do you think, Ryan, that they want to have you buried or planted? What do you think? Do people really want the best of each other or out of each other?
If this was in the past, I would say yeah. Life as it is nowadays, nah. People what's best for themselves, not for the collective.
Wow.
It's a touchy subject, to be sure, right? Especially how you choose to talk about it. But when you look at cultures and ethnicities and things like that, you can see it more prevalent than in the immediate, vicinity of where you're at. So, I would like to think, like, the person inside of me likes to think that people want what's best for everybody else. But what you want isn't usually realistic, right? You look around and everybody's trying to take that next step and be better than the next man instead of building that person up. And much like the question earlier, I think if people could adopt that mindset of let's bring everybody up and not just be selfish, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely. A bishop told me one time before, he said, Raheem, he said, you got to understand something. Because I was trying to do different things in the community and stuff like that. He said, look, you got to understand something, man. People don't care how good you're doing, long as you're not doing better than them. And I was like, wow, what do you mean? He said, look, he said, man, everybody's not gonna be happy for your successes, especially if they think that you are doing better than they are. And that's where all the negativity come in at. Let me go to Cassandra. What's on your heart? Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that has always been a issue with me that people don't want to see the best for other people. And, you know, and when you want to see the best for other people, they think you fake. They say all kinds. I'm like, what in the heck? You know, and I've said this before, because I'm a giver, you know, and I'm always trying to help people. People always like, why are you doing that? Why are you being so nice? I mean, you know, why are you trying to help me? I don't, that doesn't even register for me, because that's what my life is. Some, you know, some of us choose, you know, to do what we do, and some of us were ordained to do what we do.
Yes.
So you have to figure out for yourself, where are you in that scenario? I was ordained to do what I do. I don't, you know, and it took a lot of pain for me to get to where I am. But through my pain, I'm now able to help other people. So, you know, I just, you know, I've always wanted the best for other people, and I still do, and I'll never change. That's just who I am. Always been that way.
That's good. That's good. Let's go to Navy. Navy, what's on your heart?
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm in and out. I don't know where we are right now.
We're talking about planet, or we're still talking about planet or buried. But do you think most people want the best out of you, or do you think people, long as you're not doing better than they are doing, it doesn't matter? Does everybody want your best, or you to be at your best? Navy? Okay. She may have some issues going on with her connection. Kay, what do you say to that? Kay, are you there?
I think.
Okay, yeah. I think Navy was actually talking, but she had some issues with a line. Zamari, talk to me.
So I'll say, because I've told you a little bit about this before. When I was younger, I used to thrive on tearing people down. That was what I did. I enjoyed doing that. I didn't want to see anybody reach a greater potential because I didn't want them to be better than me. I didn't want them to reach some place where they found out who they could be or would be or should be, because I was so miserable in myself. So I would do anything and everything I could to tear them down, right? I wanted them to stay at that level where they just felt as miserable as I did.
Wow.
Stay in this with me, stay in this circle with me, or, you know, I'm just going to tear you down and go about my business and find somebody else to do that to. So I think it's about where you are in your life and in your period of growth. Now, I want to see everybody reach their potential. Now, it doesn't matter if I'm stuck in whatever mess. I want to see you grow, because I know what it's like to not feel like I'm going anywhere. So it doesn't matter what circle I'm in now. It doesn't matter because if I'm in a circle where people are at that point, right? I want to meet them there. I want to go there. But if I'm in a circle where people are kind of like not where I'm at, you know, maybe below that bar, I want to bring them up and then see them go even further. That's what I like to do now. I like to encourage that. So I don't think all circles are, you just got to find your place.
Yeah.
And you got to realize some circles are holding you back and others are going to elevate you. And you got to really analyze that. And is this circle holding you back because they don't want to see you reach that potential or go above and beyond because they're so miserable?
How do you separate?
You have to analyze. You have to know. You have to have that internal knowledge and wisdom somewhere in yourself to know.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And sometimes sometimes you don't know for a long time. Sometimes you don't. But I think in certain circumstances, it's good to have a mix of people too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Navy, she's actually back with us. She's on the phone line. So Navy, what's on your heart?
Are we still on the question of do people want to see you do
Yes, at
good,
your best.
but not as well as them?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I know we're not supposed to be so technical on here, but I just want to pick out the word most because that was the way that it was read. And I think what I was starting to say is that was very generous to say that most, but out of that most is only a very few that would actually like to see you truly reach your potential, because it's good and it's so nice to be like, oh my God, yes, I support you. But you know, your loudest boos come from your haters sitting in the front row. So no, everybody doesn't want to see you grow, but they want a ticket to the show though.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Willow.
Good morning. Good morning, Raheem.
Good morning,
Good
young lady.
morning, Glow.
How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good this morning. Little sinuses going on, but I'm all right.
There
Ain't
you
nothing
go.
to complain about.
Exactly. I'm gonna go back to the original question. If dirt is in your face, if there's dirt in your face, are you being buried or are you being planted?
If dirt is in your face, are you being buried or are you being planted? So from what I'm getting from that question is that if I'm around things that are not right, or should I say maybe illegal, or things that people that are, things that are wrong, am I being a part of it? So am I being a part of it, or am I trying to come up with it? Or is that the question that you're asking, Raheem?
Well,
I want to be clear.
Okay, my thing is, if dirt is in your face, are you being and looking at yourself as a seed? I'm just throwing this out there, looking at yourself as a seed. Are you being planted or are you being buried?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think that just for me, being transparent is that now that I've grown and matured in life, I'm not being buried, nor am I planning anything that's dirty. Should I say? I don't know. Because from my understanding to listen to what other people are responding on is people that you walk with, you travel with, and being in the position that I am in, I'm gonna come across a lot of people that are going through. So I'm here to say that I want to help versus hurt. So I'm not gonna just ignore it. Well, one incident that I told you about, Raheem. Right now I'm tossed. I'm totally tossed. I don't understand what I should do because of the fact that this young man stopped. He stopped a mall shooting, and they arrested him. So I'm really tossed with trying to, get somebody to step in because of the fact that he was a felon and he wasn't supposed to have a gun and he wasn't supposed to have body armor. But what he did was good. I mean, this guy was getting ready to shoot up a mall, but yet they arrested him as well. So,
Willa,
I don't know.
Willa, do you want to share that story so we can have a conversation on it, or is that something that you don't want to do right now?
Yeah, because maybe somebody can help me figure it out.
Okay,
because my nephew is in jail right now because he's a security officer, and he was in the Ford City Mall on Cicero in January the 6th. And what happened was he noticed that this guy had a AK-47, and he up underneath his coat, and you could see it was bulging out, he said. And he was able to subdue this guy. They held him, and then they called the police. He was the one who had them to call, and they arrested him because they did a background check on him because he had a gun. Now his job was security. I don't understand, why did they do a background even though he was wrong? He knew he wasn't supposed to carry that gun. He was a felon. He wasn't supposed to carry the gun or have body armor. Then why? I don't understand. He said that is protocol, that they also do background on the person that was involved. So I'm at a loss.
So it's protocol that they do a background check on the quote unquote Good Samaritan that stopped this person from shooting up a mall and possibly killing hundreds of people, whatever they. So so because of the fact that he was a Good Samaritan, oh, you did a great job. You probably saved a lot of people's lives. But you know what? Let me do a background check on you. Let me do a background check on you.
Yeah.
Oh, you a felon. Oh, we're gonna disregard the fact that you subdued the person that was gonna kill all these people. We're gonna disregard that.
Right.
We're gonna lock you behind up because you ain't supposed to have that weapon anyway. But had you not had that weapon, he probably would have killed 10, 15, 20 people in this mall or more in a mall setting. But we're not gonna look at that part because you know you're not supposed to have that weapon. Ryan, what do you hear in this?
Sorry, I put my headset back on.
Yes, sir.
So this is one of those subjects that I was saying earlier, both sides of the fence, right? Because I got this.
Yeah.
That used to be me.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? Because the laws are what the laws are. And yes, it is protocol if you encounter somebody with a weapon, regardless of who they are. You could just be walking down the street and, there are states that are open carry. And as long as you have that weapon holstered, nobody's really going to say anything to you. But you have to look at, and I'm not excusing the actions, so please don't take it that way. But you have to look at all sides of the scenario. As an ex-law enforcement officer, you put in positions every single minute of every single day where you literally have a split second to decide whether yourself is going to live or die, not to mention everybody else around you. So it's not questionable for them to have asked this young man, hey, can we see your ID for running a background on you for these weapons? That's not outside the realm of normal. Do I think he should have been arrested for doing what he should have done, what any normal person should have done in that scenario? No, not at all. But you have to take into consideration also, if they did not apprehend him and just let him go on his way, and something came back later on, or someone went and told, hey, they had a guy, he had a weapon. What was his name? Let me see your notebook or see your logs. And they didn't do their due diligence. And that's going to cost them their job, right? It's all around a sticky situation. But in my opinion, what should have happened is those officers should have gone to the judge in that scenario. Hey, we realize he's got a felony. He's not supposed to have a weapon. He's not supposed to have body armor. But he saved a lot of lives today. They could have put that in the judge's ear.
Yeah.
But the law is still the law, right? And
Ryan,
so,
let me say this. I think now I just want to be clear on this. Willa, wasn't he security? He had a security company or something like that as well, right?
Yes, he does. He has a security company. He has a partner with him in the security company.
And so
Yes, he does.
was that what was he working during that time, or
Yes, he was.
so he was a security company of the mall at that particular time when all this stuff took place?
Yes.
Wow. Go ahead, Ryan. That just puts a different spin on it for me.
So that adds a whole nother layer of complications, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if he's a felon himself, employed, or even owning the company, and he's carrying a weapon and carrying body armor, and he's not lawfully able to do so, he could lose his company. That whole company could lose everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that just adds another complication. But all in all, it would be the officers, in my opinion, because it's not a fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I can say that they should have did, but morally they should have put in that good word
Mm-hmm.
and said what was going on and presented the circumstance. And laws are tough. Sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
is unfair that uh, a person who's changed their life and is no longer doing things that would put them under the guise of a felon or
Mm-hmm.
a criminal get caught up in the mix. But at the same time, my personal self, I would take that arrest. I would take that loss, knowing that I saved all those people's lives, and I'd be good with that. That's
Mm-hmm.
just me.
And see, my thing is, we can't say what the officers should have done, but we can say what they could have done, and that's to go and to speak up on his behalf in the court system and let the judge know that, hey, this guy, yeah, I understand all the stuff that you see on the paper, but let's look at the life side of it. Let's look at the life side. The life side is he possibly saved a lot of people because this guy had this assault weapon. And he could take a lot of people out in the mall with an assault weapon. It's easy to do. And so let's look at the human side of it. Let's just take a look at the human side and deal with it from the human side for just a second. And what would you do if you had to deal with the human side? Tucson, what's on your heart?
I think that this is trust the process scenario.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that you have to trust the process.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, prayerfully, when the rubber meets the road, they will look at the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Not this is a case by case scenario. Everything that was just said is correct because, unfortunately, we got the law of the land.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't care who you are, except for, a few people, if you break the law, then you're at the mercy of the court.
Yes.
And hopefully you get mercy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they look at, okay, all right, we understand. We had to do that because you're in violation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But hopefully through the process, time, he'll get his justice by doing the what was necessary.
Yes.
May not be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we get ourselves into a situation where we all reap what we sow.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets rough. Even the worst thing about this system that we live in is that we get caught up in it because we all got a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And in a split second, we don't consider our pass in detail until it shows up.
Wow.
And this is what's unfortunately, the ugly picture of this is it showed up.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And because if I have a weapon and I have a felon, then when they brought me to whatever case it is, when they let me go, when I was freed, they let me know what I can and I can't do.
Yeah.
Now,
There's guidelines.
sometimes
There's guidelines.
Yeah, it is what it is, unfortunately. But what I'm praying for, and I think that we'll do.
Toussaint must have hit the mute button.
You know what?
You hit the mute button.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I hit my own mute button.
You mute yourself.
But
See?
hopefully, before we leave here, we would pray for him that the process, as we trust the process, that they would have mercy because it suits the case.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard somebody say mercy suits the case?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if he wouldn't have, we'll be talking about a whole different thing.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be
And
another.
what a shame that we would have people that are capable of intervening and stopping stuff, and instead of what they do is they consider themselves, and oh well, I can't do nothing because it's me at stake, and I can't be this hero. I just let it go, and I pull out my phone and take a picture.
Wow. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Phone lines open. Give us a call. What do you think should happen in this scenario? We probably have some of our listeners out there that says, well, he know what the situation is. He know what his conditions were. And for him to have a weapon, he was wrong. So that's why he was arrested. Some people will say that. Other people will say, well, look at the good that he did in this scenario. Look at the good that he did. Look at the lives that he saved. And had he not had a weapon, then he may not have been able to save the lives, and he may very well be a victim himself, along with a lot of other people.
Raheem.
Yes.
Raheem.
Yes. Hold on, I got two Raheems going on. Go, ladies always first, Toussaint. Go, Kate with the E. Go ahead, sis. Hey man, ladies always first, brother. Hey. Hey.
You had called my name, but I was on another call. But I missed what you was asking. Like, who y'all talking about? The guy with the weapon.
Yes.
I missed it. But he had a weapon. What happened?
Oh, well, he was actually in a mall. He was at work. He's owns a security company. He and another fellow owns a security company. A guy came into the mall setting with a big coat on and an AK up on his jacket. He went and he apprehended the guy until the police came. The police came and arrested the guy with the AK, but also ran his check and found out he had a felony. He wasn't supposed to have a job, wasn't supposed to have a weapon, and he was arrested as well. Good, bad, or ugly. What do you hear in that situation? Probably saved a lot of people's lives. Because had that guy got in the middle of that mall and started shooting, ain't no telling who'll be dead today. It'll be another news article. So what's on your heart?
Right. He saved a lot of lives. He did do that because they don't know what intentions that guy had that had it.
Mm-hmm.
But them doing their job and doing the report, they had to take him because, I had a friend right here in Kansas City. He's a bouncer, and his job requires him to have a gun, but you're a felon, so you got to go about it the right way. It's a way to go about it, and they hired him, so I'm sure they backed him and they didn't have no problems, but you got to go about it the right way. You did your job, but you should have did your job as covering yourself as well, being a felon, and you know the rights and you know the law. So,
but in a situation
for a reason,
in a situation like that, how do you cover yourself? Because had you, if you didn't do anything and the guy shot and killed those people, maybe even to include yourself, where's that line?
Cover yourself as far as like. I had to tell my friend, you knew when you went and got that job as a bouncer, you were a felon and you're not supposed to have a gun, so you get pulled over one night leaving the job. Now he got a gun case to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you should have went through the federal people and let them know so that you could have been cleared to carry that gun,
mm-hmm.
so that you wouldn't have this problem, because you already know the consequences if you get caught with a gun. So that's called cover yourself. You don't just take a job and not cover yourself, because that job ain't that job is just a job. Your livelihood is your life.
Yeah.
So you got to cover yourself as a security guard. You can't just go out there and you're a felon. So it's a lot to go along with that. So it's called cover yourself before you go out there. I'm not going to take a job knowing if I take the job and I get caught and I'm a felon, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm protecting the citizens. So I'm going to make sure I protect my freedom as well.
Okay. That makes sense. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. What do you hear?
Just listen to the scenario. But just like Ms. Kay said, you knew when you took the job you shouldn't have had the gun in the jacket. I mean, that preceded long before this incident. So you were already in the commission of a felony. Yeah, that's why I say you have to make sense. You know what I'm saying? You have to make sense first. Now, of course, the prosecutor should be appealed to drop charges. But then again, you have to realize, why are you running a company that requires you to have this weapon and this body armor, and you know your situation?
Wow. Hold on one second. Willa, he didn't shoot anybody, did he? He didn't have to shoot the guy to apprehend him, did he? He just had him at gunpoint.
Yeah, he didn't shoot anybody, but I think the reason why he thought it was okay was because it's not the first time that he subdued somebody in some area and they didn't run his background. So that kind of, I guess, gave him what they're saying. Everybody's saying the right thing, but what he thought was that because he wasn't, they didn't do his background prior in the other cases that he was able to get other people. I guess he thought that it was okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because this wasn't the first time that he was able to subdue somebody, not in this case, but just doing his business, being in a nightclub or, guarding some other thing where he had to do that, have people arrested. They didn't check his background, but they did this time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I don't want to get into that color thing, but that's probably why he didn't think that they were going to do it this time. But this time they did it. Maybe it's a warning for him. I don't know. So, just following him in his court process.
Okay. Let you finish your thought. Cassandra, coming to you next.
I was pretty much finished, but like I say, you only get a break so far. Like, say, for instance, you ever heard of somebody taking somebody else to court for breaking in their house and stealing their weed? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or even a better, on the other side, a good example. Jesus was doing what was right, but they still killed him.
Yeah.
So people have to look at that, and you have to look out for yourself. Robin Hood may have been a good to a lot of different people, but he was still robbing folks. So just because you think it's good to do, don't mean it's always looked at the same way from different perspectives.
Wow. Okay. Cassandra?
Okay, I had to get off for a moment. What are we talking about now?
Well, we're talking about the situation that happened on Willa's nephew. He's actually he's locked up right now because he had a security company and he was working in the mall. Guy came into the mall, with an AK up on his big coat. Her nephew apprehended the guy until the police came, called the police came, arrested the guy with the AK. Also ran a background check on her nephew. And because he's an ex-felon, still working as a security, but he's an ex-felon, they locked him up as well. What do you hear? I don't want to guide your opinion, but what do you hear?
No, that one is pretty simple because until the laws change, ex-felons are not allowed to carry weapons unless, you know, your state. I don't know state from state. I know here in Georgia, absolutely not. You go into jail. You go into jail. So if we want it to be different, if we want them to be able to carry arms for whatever reason, we have to change the laws within your particular state or county or whatever it is. I believe it's state to state. But yeah, he, you know, unfortunately he was doing the right thing, but the laws obviously in his state are like the laws here in Georgia. You cannot, as a ex-felon, you cannot carry a weapon. So I think that's right, Leonard? I think that's right
that
here
is
in Georgia.
yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know how he got to that career.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Yeah, just how he even was able to pass, you know, because they have such stringent laws that here in Georgia, I can't talk about anywhere else. So yeah, I definitely I hate that happened to him because he's, you know, he was trying to work and do the right thing, but our laws are very very hard on that. Let me tell you something. The street guys, they got all of the guns, they felons and stuff, and they got more guns than the police, I think sometimes. So, you know, we sort of messed up in that.
Exactly. And see, it's very slippery. It's very slippery because do you not even take into account that excuse me, that he did save lives? Do you not look at the fact that had he not been there or done anything, that guy could have got into that mall setting. I'm understanding a mall, a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the mall all the time. Who would he have been able to take out?
They're not going to take that into account, Raheem. They're only going to check, once they check his record and see that he's a felon, that's all they see. They're going strictly by the law. So that's why I'm saying either we're going to change the law or we're going to enforce the law. And I think Leonard says that a lot. You know, we have to go, if you want the laws changed, then go and have the laws changed. But until they're changed, we're going to have to go by what is written already.
And see, that's the part that's very tricky to me. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying that you're wrong at all. I agree. I do agree with what you're saying, but how do you do that though? Because every situation is a case by case situation. So how do you rewrite the law to fit each case? Yeah, that's the part that's the tricky part.
It's through legislation. It's through legislation. You can't do it. They're not going to do it by case. That means that we'd have to do that. They're not going to do that.
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
go by what is written.
And that's my point. That's my point, because you know, in a situation like this could be totally different from another situation where a person that has a felony has a weapon. So how do you write, okay, in this situation, okay, you saved these people's lives, you did these different things, okay, you good, slap on the wrist, don't do it no more, go home. But what is the law going to do for the next situation where it's not the same, but the felon had a weapon? I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
The issue would be it's not a big issue. It's the issue involving felons, ex-felons, and when is it lawful for them to carry a weapon?
So
exactly.
Am I right? Am I right in thinking? Am I right in thinking that an ex-felony is there a process that? See, I don't know. This is another area just out of my pay grade. So an ex-felon can never own a weapon. Is that true, or is there some kind of protocol, some kind of system, or some kind of program he or she would have to go through in order to obtain a weapon again? Let me ask Ryan, because he's ex-law enforcement. He may know the answer to this particular question. What do you say to that?
My understanding is it's a state-by-state case as far as what type of weapons. So I know that in certain states, felons can have a shotgun or a hunting rifle. But it legitimately has to be a single shot hunting rifle, not a rifle like I got in the closet, the 32 shots, you know. So But to touch base on what you're asking, there are some states that allow you to get things expunged from your record, but you have to meet certain qualifications, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get that done.
Exactly.
And the only way that we could change this, because it is a slippery slope. If you say, oh, all felons can carry a weapon again after a certain amount of time, you're just asking for problems because some people just don't change.
Yeah.
There's a reason why recidivism is ridiculously high in the corrections area
Mm-hmm.
of law enforcement. So I think the answer would be a merit-based system. How long you been out of jail? How long you been clean? How
Mm-hmm.
long you been holding down a job? Are you showing that you are now again a productive member of the community, of your
Mm-hmm.
state, of your
That's good.
society, that we could give you this opportunity to show, hey, I've changed. Let me
Mm-hmm.
have my rights back.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't just blanket it and give everybody. That's a problem. That's a huge problem because people fake it till they make it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In my experience with law enforcement and corrections, like those guys that get out of jail and stay out of jail, they cut off their communications with their partners from before. They move to a different area. They go and get themselves a good job. They'll go and spend 6 to 9 months in a rehab instead of 30 days. Like there's signs that you can see. And those guys that follow that same procedure when they get out, they don't come back. And those are the guys you can focus on. But those guys who get out and they keep tripping up and tripping up and tripping up and going back and going back and going back, and they say the same things to the judge. Oh, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. How many mistakes you're gonna make? Like those are the types of individuals you have to watch out for, right? Is it nephew?
Yes.
He sounds like he was doing the right things, right? He's working for a good company, doing things the right way. He's got a good heart, obviously, trying to protect people like that. So that would be one of those merit-based cases, right? Let's go ahead and look into what's been going on with him since he got hit with this charge. And then maybe we can make some adjustment, maybe move that off of his record so he can continue doing what he loves. That's the only real workaround. He just, like everybody's been saying, the law is the law. And if you bend the law for one person, it creates a problem.
It does. It does. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Raheem.
Let Leonard go first.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead. I can't hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Badger.
So, while everyone was talking, I was just doing research, and it depends on the felony and where they're at. And after 10 years, it's different things. But you also have to apply for certain cards. I think it's called a MERC card. Or I might be pronouncing it wrong. Hold on. PERC, Permanent Employer Registration Card. So if he was hired by a security company, they should have been doing a background check and they shouldn't have hired him if it's against the law. So if he was hired by a company, I would have the impression too that it was all right for me to do my job. Because you're applying for a company. And if you're starting a security company, from what I was looking at so far with the laws, you have to apply for those kinds of things. So if you're approved for all that kind of stuff and you have that kind of background and you're approved for everything, that'd give you an impression that things are okay too. So I just find this a very weird situation personally. And I don't know enough about it to say other than that. I like the research.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's keep this thing going now. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother? Tucson? Okay. Tucson may have to step away. Leonard, I think you wanted to say something, brother.
Yes, I'm going to make it real clear. Everybody listen to this radio. If you got gun issues or don't know, you need to check with your state. This law varies too much from state to state.
for you to take anybody's word for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Mhm.
check the law yourself first. It's just like being in Georgia has a thing that's very positive for felons, and that's restoral of rights to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Yes.
have to go be restored. If like, say, for instance, in some places that are, let's say, more liberal about guns, Texas may say after you complete your sentence, you have to wait a certain time after that. But it varies that way. Some places you can't get them back,
Wow.
but you need to make sure. But we know in Georgia they're very strict about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have family members who have went to prison for this. Not so much as you even having and doing what this young man did. You taking a risk being in a house with somebody with one.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm a felon and I'm married, my wife's not to be a felon. However, if they come to that house and there's a gun there, I'm in violation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some like I believe the other young man said on the line, it really depends state to state. So y'all please check it out. I have a nephew was in Rikers Island. Yeah, you can put that gun and check it in onto a plane, but I tell you what, when you go to New York City, they have a different law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody else gave you permission. The government gave you to fill out the right form. And New York said you cannot have guns.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to jail.
Yeah.
So make sure you all know the gun rights before you run into these situations. It was that young man's duty to understand with his background. They told him he couldn't have a weapon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Willa?
But you can't take it up on yourself and
Yep.
then put the responsibility on the company for not doing the background check, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Everybody's in violation then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. Willa!
Yeah. So yeah, Raheem. So you know what? My dilemma was because I had somebody who was hiring official, was a state rep. I was going to get them to intervene, but I'm not because he got a good judge. I mean, he's a black judge. The last time we were at court, he allowed us to come in and have a little talk with them and hug them and stuff like that. And usually judges don't allow people to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he had not yet made up his mind. So I think he was in like probably the same dilemma that I probably was feeling, but I understand what everybody is saying because he's right. You got to go by the law. If you're going to get in that kind of business, you've got to do it the right way. You got to. Because if you don't, then something may happen and it turns around the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is just, because I'm looking at the good thing. The good thing is he got a good judge. That's what I'm looking at. Okay, well, the bad thing, he's spending time in jail right now. Maybe he needs to be set down. Nobody is really giving him any guidance. His mother, he lost his mother in 21. Remember, Raheem, I told you about that.
Uh-huh.
He was put in a foster home. It's so many things to this story that you guys don't understand. That's why I'm like, I want to help. I want to help. And God said, sit your butt down. Let me handle this.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm just going to keep going, pray about it like I always do.
Mm-hmm.
We got court tomorrow. I'll be there at 9:00 in the morning, Raheem.
Okay.
And we're going to find out what the judge's decision is because he didn't even give him a bond. He didn't even give him a bond. He don't have a bond.
Wow.
So I believe that this is why, Raheem, because of what everybody just said.
Mm-hmm.
What everybody just said. He's giving them time to sit down, think about what you did, and see where you're gonna go from this time forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's a good kid, Raheem. I tell you, he is. It's just that when he was younger, he wound up in some trouble, and unfortunately, it just, he don't have any guidance.
Yeah, it followed him. Yeah.
I think everybody, because you fixed my dilemma.
Yeah.
You fixed me wanted to go above and get somebody to do something different. I'm not. I'm just gonna pray about it and allow God to handle it.
To God be the
thank
glory.
you, everybody.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
To God be the glory.
Raheem.
Yes, ma'am.
I have.
Cassandra.
Oh, was Willa finished?
Yes.
I'm finished.
Okay.
That's what's on my heart.
Yeah.
There you go.
And okay. And her nephew is a good example of people deserving a second chance. My son is the total opposite. He don't ever need to have a chance at carrying weapons, in which, I'm sure he do, but anyway, you just have to know the person that you're dealing with. My son is like, he has just decided that he wanted to be a career criminal. I mean, that's his point blank. And he's my child. He came out of my body. And I'm telling you, that's just that has been his choice. All the prayers that I send forth, and I keep praying for him that God will turn his life around. He chooses the type of lifestyle that he wants to live. And he can be dangerous. So I don't sugarcoat or petticoat for nobody. I don't care. I'm gonna tell the truth as is my child, and I'm gonna tell the truth about him. He is one of them ones that don't ever need to have access to weapons. Period. Point blank.
Wow. Ryan, you wanted to say something, brother?
Yeah, just real quick. I caught it when Willa was talking right at the end about the no bond. When dealing with firearms, if there's a firearms violation, and as far as I know, this is across the board, if you're conducting a crime with a firearm, the automatic is no bond, unless the judge decides to go outside the box. It's automatically, if it's any kind of deadly weapon, it's an automatic no bond. So don't take any offense to that. That's just something that they're doing regardless of the circumstance to protect other people.
Well, let me ask you something. And I know the connection. I know the connection of this thing, but was he committing a crime, or was it because of the fact that he was in violation of the guidelines of him being a felon?
I think it was just the guidelines, right? He didn't commit a crime by saving people's lives.
Exactly. Yeah.
He just didn't follow what was
the guidelines
set down to him when he was given his freedom back. That's all it was.
Absolutely. Anybody have anything else? Kate, was that you wanted to say something, sis?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
I just wanted to tell Willa that she said she was going to get somebody involved. That's the Holy Spirit, because you want to make sure that it's a fair treatment. And so you want somebody that can get in there and to tell you what's really going on, because they won't tell you. You also can email the judge. I emailed the judge on my son's behalf. My son was driving my nephew's car, and my nephew left the gun in there. And now he still has to deal with it, because my nephew said he knowingly knew that the gun was in there. Well, both of y'all felon, and neither one of y'all should have had a gun around neither one of y'all. So the attorney said Roy's car, Roy's gun. If Terrence didn't touch the gun and his fingerprints ain't on it, then they can't, it's nothing. Terrence had nothing to worry about. So it's just, like he said, it's different laws, and he didn't commit a crime, but in their eyesight, he did commit a crime for having that gun. So, but just to make sure he get fair treatment, it's okay to have a higher up to look into it and explain it to you from the court's point of view. So then that way you won't be worried, because people say, "I don't worry," but we still worry.
Yeah.
Because that's your nephew.
Exactly.
And you don't want to see him go to jail, and he was heading down the right path. So it's important for them to write letters to the judge, people that know him and close friends, to send recommendations to the judge, character letters. It's okay to send character letters to the judge. He needs that right now on his behalf.
Absolutely.
So that they don't look at it like, because they could do whatever they want to do with our people nowadays. So you do want to make sure he gets the best treatment. So character letters to the judge would just help his case.
Good deal. Zamari, what's on your heart, sis?
Nothing. I think my husband said it best. For the people that can't see him but are hearing him, yes, that is my husband. He has finally been able to grace us, and I'm so excited.
And listen,
But
and we gotta have him back too. Don't let
yes,
this be no time, brother. We here every day. You know, we here every day, 7 to 10.
it's hard for him because of his work schedule, though. You know, he's up and out of the house by 4:30 in the morning. But I am so happy that he got to be here and give that advice to Willa today.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope you had a good time, brother. I hope you enjoyed us. Good deal. Good deal. Anybody got anything they want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, Raheem, I do. You see, look at God though, for real. This is the first time he's gotten on.
Yes.
And he got on to give me advice because I took that personal.
Yeah.
You see how God just works out his plan in our lives. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I saw it. And I didn't even know that was her husband because I get on at 8 and sometime a little bit after. But man, oh man, thank you, Lord. I've already received it.
There you go.
So, like I said, I've been praying about it. And look at God though. Come on, Raheem, and look where I'm at now.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, thank you, Lord. Come on. Amen.
Well, we're gonna have and I was gonna say something about the prayer today. We're gonna have a powerful prayer today, and make sure that we add and we'll make sure we add Brother Hicks, Mr. Hicks on. He's fighting. He sent me a message. He's fighting COVID right now. He came up with COVID, and so yeah. So that's why he's not on with us today. I guess he's not feeling well, but he thought enough of us to reach out and to let us know, let me know what was going on with him. And so I told him I would definitely add him into the prayer. I'd be praying for him myself, but I wanted all of us to pray for him as well. Yeah, that's why he's not here today. Yeah, he's fighting the COVID. Cassandra.
I think my husband had one last. No? Okay.
Cassandra, Rico's not with us. He actually got a situation going on as well. I don't want to put his business out there, but he got a little something going on right now. I think the ones that's here, I guess y'all know it's some based around his son. But what's going on today at 3:00?
At 3:00 today, if you missed the show and would like to hear it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3:00 to DKM Media, whatever rest of that is.
Yeah, there you go. DK or Media Group at Gmail. Yeah.
That one. What he said.
The one he said.
So that you can hear the entire show.
And Ryan, let me tell you what, we got an inside thing that we do here, man. When we make that speech, we don't say entirety. We say in its entirety. In its entirety. We got our own language. It is entirety.
You're embodying your inner Charles Barkley.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. You must know that guy. Yeah, you know him too, huh? Yeah, he's something else. But listen, I don't know if she's still here. Zamari, is she still here? I think she's still.
Hey, you know what? She made it run off.
Yeah,
she could have run off.
Let me find out. Willow.
Raheem, come on, let's go. Let's go, Raheem.
Are you ready? Are you ready, Willow? Are you?
Raheem,
yes.
I tell you, I am so ready. I am ready to receive God's message this morning. Amen. Come on, Raheem. Let's go.
Well, Will, I ain't got nothing but one more thing to say. I got one more thing to say.
He froze.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Oh no.
Right before prayer, too.
Yeah. We just have to wait until he comes back.
No,
Odin,
man.
if you had something you wanted to say, go for it now, man. While we're waiting for him to reset.
It's an open floor until he comes back at this point. Nothing, babe?
Nah, I got nothing. I was just gonna say thanks for having me. It was good to meet everybody here that I've heard about over the last several weeks. And hopefully I'll have the opportunity to come back again.
Yeah, I hope you do too, because I talk about you so much. So I'm glad that they got to experience what I experience daily, you know? It's nice.
Right, tired of hearing you talk.
Oh, I'm sure that I'm waiting for them to kick me off at some point and just, you know, tell me to stop talking about you and bringing you up all the time. Because I do talk you up so much. Well, this is an uncomfortable silence.
Well, don't forget to go look up your history and everything in life is going to be a responsibility of yourself. Oh. Oh, I'm getting a lot of messages, so I'm trying to deal with all that. There we go. He's back.
There he is. We left it hanging.
That's keeping them from serving you. We love you, Lord. We honor you, Lord. Father, I'm asking you that you touch the Sanders son, Lord. Father, I still believe that there's hope, Lord. I still believe that you can lead them and direct them in the right way. I trust you, Lord. I stand on your words, and I trust no man, but I trust you. Thank you, Lord. Touch each and every last one that's on this line, Lord. Touch Raheem and his family. Keep them safe, Lord. Father, I believe that it's already done, and I'm thanking you in advance for the Holy Spirit surrounding their families and keeping them safe. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. And glory to God. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, and amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. Glory to God.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, Jesus. Yes, ma'am. Ooh, wait. I thank you, Lord. Yes.
Wow. And I got to be totally transparent and totally honest. We missed some of that prayer. The system, soon as I said let's go, the system kicked me out.
Yeah.
Well, we had it.
Listen.
We got it.
Yeah. I know. I know what that was all about even before she started it. So
If you missed any of this prayer, tune back in at 3 o'clock Eastern today to catch what you missed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But listen, it's time for us to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:05. Getting out here a little earlier today, huh? 10:05. Okay. It's usually been 10:30, 10:45, and y'all, I get out of here a little early today. I sure appreciate it. But I want to thank you all for joining us. More than that, thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:05. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you. And ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine something that's light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other. And please, please, please be blessed. Show somebody some love and truth today. And let me say it to my family up in Detroit up there. What up, though? Oh, that's a whole different situation. Y'all didn't know I knew about that. All right, I'll talk to y'all soon. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a great day.